Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see. We are live. We're live. Uba's in the building. What's up, Uba 100? Good to see you. Good to see you. Y'all, welcome into the stream. Welcome in. Canarso, welcome in. I appreciate y'all being here. Welcome in. Ace G, appreciate you hopping in. Welcome to the stream, y'all. Welcome to Track Talk. Shia's in the building. Sorry, it wasn't showing me the whole name. Shia's in the building. Ango, welcome in. I appreciate you. Or Anjo, let me know. Josh is in the building. Y'all, welcome in. I appreciate y'all tapping into Track Talk today. Welcome into the stream. If y'all are coming in for the first time, let me know where you're joining from. If you make music, talk to me about the kind of music that you make. I would love to hear a little bit about y'all and what y'all do creatively. Shia, so good to see you. I hope you're doing amazing today. Zorro's in the building. Thank you for the heart me, Shia. I appreciate that a lot. Hope y'all are doing absolutely fantastic today. Claude is in the building. Claude, welcome in to the stream. And if y'all are over on TikTok, do me a huge favor. Tap the screen, share out the live with a few people. We will get rolling here in just a moment. Don't forget to send your harmony for the day. We are going to tackle a handful of tracks today. We've been pretty short on the live the last couple weeks, honestly. Just have not had a lot of time to stream, just with all the other work and projects and stuff that I've been doing. So all of the lives have been very short. Hopefully we can get through a good handful of music today. So I appreciate y'all tapping in. I will, the line is already up and running on the other platforms. Smurf is in the building. What's up, Smurf? Good to see you. I hope you're doing amazing. Gemma, welcome in as well. I appreciate you joining. Again, let me know where y'all are coming in from. If you make music, talk to me about the music that you make. MJ Beats in the building. What's up, MJ Beats? Good to see you. Let me get a couple things updated and rolling over here on my end. Orgo, welcome in. I appreciate you being here. Mindless is in the building. What's up, Mindless? Ali is back in the chat. What's up, Ali? I remember you from yesterday. Welcome back in. Welcome back in. Let me double check a few things here. We are just getting rolling, y'all. We're getting things flowing here in a couple minutes. In a couple minutes. I can't talk. I need to slow down, but my brain doesn't let me sometimes. In a couple minutes, even when I'm slow, it doesn't work. In a couple minutes, Jesus Christ, I will explain the structure of the live stream, the way that things work here in Track Talk, so on. Inez, welcome in as well. Devilish Boy, Observer. Is it Zeke? I appreciate you tapping in. Thank you so much for hopping in. KTK, welcome in as well. I really appreciate you hopping in. Gail, thank you so much for joining the stream. Zorro, I will, it depends on what your favorite song is. If you are connected to the song in any way, if it's something that you worked on, something that you're close with, I would absolutely love to hear what you're working on and what you were a part of. KTK, you definitely can. Everything's at my profile. I will explain the live here in a second. It's a little bit of a different format and a different structure, so I will explain it in a second. Aiton, I do have your submission. Jackie, welcome in. Think twice, welcome in. I will update everything here in just one moment. Aiton, I already got you up on the board, and I do already have your email as well. Yes, correct, Warren. I'm a vocalist / drummer from Philly, PA, and I make beats, background vocals, and arrangements. Shia, that sounds amazing. What style? I love that you're drumming. I've been playing drums since I've been playing drums since I was 4 years old. 4 years old. Brian's in the building. I appreciate you so much, Shia. It's all love from this end. You know it. You know it. Tell me you're an audio pro without telling me. How about a Neumann mic versus your SM7? Wait, Casper. Wait, sorry, hold on. I'm catching up here. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that so much. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on comments as we go here. Zorro, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I appreciate that a lot. TikTok keeps, every time something new happens in the chat, it kicks me back down, so it's hard to sometimes scroll back in the chat to see what people are saying. Tell me you're an audio pro without telling me. How about a Neumann mic versus your SM7? R&B, soul, gospel, and pop. Versatile. He's versatile. All right, let me double check a few things here. Give me a moment to get a few things updated here. We got some of the family in here. I appreciate y'all so much. Sam, welcome in. I appreciate you being here. Wait, so do the shock bounce really make a difference? Yeah, I mean, it makes a difference in the amount of like contact you actually have, the amount of vibration that's transferred to the diaphragm of the microphone. Simply, I mean, it's really all it is. Do you have to have one? Not necessarily. Depends on kind of the structure of your stand and stuff like that, and how much energy is going to be transferred. But it just helps, right? It just helps that if you're moving around a lot. In this case, it's like mounted, so there's a much less energy. If I'm like, this is actually connected to my desk, so there's a lot less energy actually transferred there. So that's one of the only reasons, just to kind of floats it. Gives it a little bit, it's almost like a shock absorber for your car. You know what I mean? It's just like a little bit of an absorber for for the microphone. Do the vibrations show up in the tracking like audibly? I mean, yeah. I mean, if it's bad enough, it's like anything, right? It's like noise in the room. It's like fans being on and whatever it may be, self noise from the gear that you're running, whatever it may be. Like it kind of just depends on the situation. And if you're jumping around a lot, like in this case, this mic stand that I have here, it's just like a Rode or a blue, I think it's blue stand that I have, and it's connected to my sit stand desk here. So when I'm tracking and producing and doing sessions and stuff, just for the stuff that I'm tracking for clients and stuff, I'll sometimes change this to sit stand. So the mic is connected to that. So if I'm moving stuff around a lot, then it does make a pretty big difference. I mean, the difference would be like, this kind of like if something was direct versus that, right? Like now I'm not getting that direct signal. If this was just metal to metal from the microphone capsule straight to the microphone, which is connected straight to the desk, every little thing that I would be doing on the desk, or if I bump the capsule, or if I'm moving around a lot on the floor, whatever it may be, you would get a lot more of that tension there. Everyone's in the building. What's the mic going into? Thank you, Caspian. I appreciate you. So this is a Neumann M147 tube. I love it. It's no one really talks about this microphone, but I absolutely adore it. I think it's fantastic. I have contemplated selling it many different times to get different stuff. I was looking at a C12 VR for a while, and maybe even like a 67, something in that range. But I've just, for the price, and they're still very expensive, but for the price, I feel like it's a pretty underrated microphone. I love this thing. I think it's fantastic. So this is the Neumann M147 tube, and I have it going into a pretty simple system. I have it going into an ART voice channel, which is they're cheap. They're like $700, $600-700. And Maurice, welcome in. They're $600-700. You can find them cheaper, used if you want to, but it's a tube preamp, but it has kind of everything in one. It's a channel strip, so you get a little bit of everything. So it has a tube preamp, so I can actually push that saturation and gain a little bit harder if I want to. And it also has a compressor, de-esser, gate, EQ, stuff like that. So I use that tube preamp and compressor just to kind of kiss the signal going into the DAW, and then do some other stuff. So I have just like a kind of a wall of compression, just a pretty tight compressor just at the top. So you get a little bit of a control at the top of the range, like maybe the max 2 dB at the top of the range is just kissing it. I've got a little bit of low end control, a little bit of high end push, a little like tasteful de-essing. Just to, again, like I said, I'm like 5%, kissing this thing before it hits the DAW. That way there's a little bit of control, so I don't have to do as much dynamic control in the DAW. That's about it. Pretty simple. What headphones do you use? Have some JBL ones that don't give me much to work with. So these are the headphones that I use when I'm mixing. These are Focal. When I'm Clear MGs, Focal Clear MGs. And Maurice, I appreciate you tapping in. And Inez, thank you. I'm sorry, I know I'm missing a whole bunch of questions and comments as I'm ranting on stuff. Aiton, I see you, brother. Thank you so much for tapping in. I got you already ready to go. Anyways, these are Focal Clear MGs. This is what I use to reference. This is what I use to mix. Most of the time, I do have some Focal monitors. They're 6.5s, a little bit smaller, but I have some Focal monitors in the actual studio. I use those mainly when I'm producing. I do a lot of synth work. I love synth, analog hardware synth, so I have a bunch of synths in here always. And when I'm doing synth work, sometimes I like referencing the room. So I'll use the Focals in the room, usually just for monitoring. But these Clear MGs I use for mixing most of the time. If I'm tracking, I'm usually using the Beyerdynamic DT770s, just because they're closed back. These are open back. You can hear everything right outside of these headphones. You can hear absolutely everything that's going on. So these right here, you can, it makes it pretty brutal to track with, just because there's so much bleed. So on the other side of that, if I'm actually like tracking live drums, or even like sometimes if I'm tracking guitars and I'm miking a cab, miking an amp, bass, or I'm tracking vocals, I'll use the Beyerdynamics. I feel like there's just excuses for these dudes to hear themselves talk and not about music. Chris, you would be sorely wrong if you've never been here before. We just started the live, so I'm answering questions. We just started the live, so I'm answering people's questions. That's why I am talking. They hear those dog and not amount of music. But yeah, if you've never been here before, you'd be very, very mistaken on the kind of the structure of the live stream, and kind of the things that we dig into here. But it's fine. Yeah, if you don't enjoy it, I don't expect everyone to enjoy this at all. There's plenty of places to go. It's about pro mixing being done in cans now. Can you confidently do Atmos mixing in those? I would say so. I don't touch Atmos. It's not the world that I went in. I talked to a bunch of really prolific engineers, and they weren't really touching it. It's a very niche subject, very niche application that I just, it kind of depends on what you're looking to do. I'm not touching Atmos. I haven't built a niche in that space. I haven't really delved into that world too much. Everything that I do is just stereo right now. And it's treated me fine. I don't have any complaints. Okay, catching up. This is so annoying. Ines, thank you for the follow. Gosh, it keeps kicking me down. I'm trying to read through stuff, and it keeps every time a new comment comes in, it drops me back down. Damn it. Hold on. You did not see too much on the TikTok live. That's how you knew. Caspian, I appreciate you. Thank you for the follow as well. If I missed that earlier. Okay, Ines, I answered that. No, TikTok, stop. Damn it. Stop bringing me back down. God damn it. All right. Sorry, trying to catch up. TikTok, you're pissing me off. You're pissing me off. It keeps dropping it back down. Could I ask you what I could improve on my songs? Amaris, that's what we do here. 100%. 100%. I'll explain actually the live here in like 30 seconds. I'm just trying to catch up on a couple comments really quick. Come on, TikTok. This is driving me nuts. Driving me nuts. Okay, I think I'm about Shy. I appreciate you so much. Shy is the family, man. Shy is the family. Apple Music loves atmosphere mainstream releases somehow. Yeah, I mean, there's a world for it. Chance is in the building. Chance, let me get you back on the board as well, man. I got you. Chance, you're up on the board. You're ready to go, and I got you up at 25 now. Actually, I've gotten some boosts over the last couple here. No, I got you, Eitan. No worries at all, man. Give me a second here. I'll explain the live, y'all, and then we'll dive into the first couple tracks here. Just make sure I got everything updated here. Make sure I got all of this figured out. Of course, man. I got you. Dixie, thank you for the follow. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of people. There's plenty of people that have delved into the world. I mean, I know people that have made it their whole thing. They've gotten, they've built, Atmos setups in their studios and stuff like that. I've never had, one, the mental capacity to turn that direction. Two, the need within my business to, kind of divert energy into those different spaces. A lot of what I do is on the tracking side. So like a lot of what I'm doing is, I do a lot of mixing and mastering still, but the vast majority of what I do is on the instrument tracking side. So I do a lot of session work. I do a lot of production work. Makes up the vast majority of my business. Mixing and mastering being a much smaller part of it. So I still do some every month. I've got clients coming in, but it is a much smaller portion of my business where I'm like, okay, I'm not about to put in 12 speakers to learn a whole new kind of format of doing that. A lot of people are just doing it as a gimmick. They're like, okay, yeah, I'll do an Atmos mix for $500, and they just kind of put that in their bio for the sake of being able to get some extra business with it. I don't have the energy to lean that direction. I don't need it as an extra part of my business. I'm doing additional mix processing in a different format like that. I'm very, very happy doing my session work, like a lot of the synth tracking that I do in here. And that's just not a necessity for a lot of that tracking stuff that I'm doing. Also, is the hype about the Sony C800 worth it? Lots of studios make it a default for pop, hip hop, so pricey. Yeah. I mean, they're easily on the low end. You're going to spend with an older tube and low end, you're going to spend $12,000, $13,000 probably for a C800G. High end, is kept up really well. You're looking closer to 20, looking closer to 20K right there. When it comes to the price of gear and it being worth it to you, it really comes down to, one, just how much money do you have, right? Like if you have $12,000 to your name, period, do I recommend, or less, do I recommend spending all of that? Caspian, you have, welcome home. Do I recommend spending all of that on a microphone, hoping you may in some world get clients you can charge a lot for if you don't have the skills to back it up yet or the experience to back it up yet? Probably not. If you are prolific, you are credited, you have, a very, very large form studio that is active and you are working constantly, and it is an in-demand item request as far as artists that are coming into that space and you want to work at that tier, sure. Does it sound amazing on the right source? Sure. Can it sound shitty on another source? Sure. Is that gamble for the artists and musicians and instruments that are coming into your space worth it? When you are it depends on a lot, right? It's an investment, right? It's like anything. Like is it a good investment for your business? For one, first answer is if you're not making money full-time as a musician, as a producer, as an engineer, there's no reason to buy that microphone unless you just have the money. I know people personally that have spent tens of thousands of dollars on gear just because they can. They don't even know how to use half of it. There's I have money. I have they work in cybersecurity, and they make a lot of money and they buy expensive stuff and they love it and it's fun. But it's not because it actually is something that is viable for them as a business. Now, if you do have a viable music business and it can be worth it, then 100%, go for it. It's a very sought after microphone. It does sound great on the right source. But yeah, to me, depends on a lot of factors. I mean, it does sound great. I mean, if you've ever used one before, it is a great sounding microphone, but it can also sound really bad on the wrong source. So I mean, it's just like any microphone. It's like the way that I see the U87AI. I don't personally love the U87AI. It's just not my favorite microphone. Some people love it. I think most people like it because most people like it, not because they've actually used it and love the way it sounds compared to other things in the same vein. I think there's a lot of microphones like that, where same with the C800. Oftentimes we're like, well, everyone who's ever made it in music, they eventually start using that microphone. So then people, kill themselves in order to actually like utilize that microphone. It's like, it can be great. It's just like the U87AI. Like, it can be great in the right context, right? Doesn't mean that it's worthwhile someone to drop, $3,500 on one. And it's one of the reasons like why I got like, this is a $3,500 mic. This is the same price as a U87. And it's a mic that no one was talking about and no one was, really hyping up. But I went and trialed a couple different microphones before I bought this one. Before I bought this, I had a studio that was next to my studio when I was in Dallas. And he had a bunch of high-end gear in there. He had a guy that brought one in. That's when I first heard it. So I used it for a day there, and I trialed it out against a couple other more high-end microphones, in the kind of like the $2,000 to $5,000 range, kind of in that pocket. Fell in love with this one for the price. Trialed it against, U87AI and a couple others, and I fell in love with it. But it wasn't because it was hype, because no one talks about it. But I think it's in my personal opinion, for what I use it most often for, I think it sounds way better than the U87AI. Okay. Let's get into a couple things here. Aiton, I see you, brother. I need to get some things rolling here. Okay, y'all. Let's get into the music here, man. Let's get into the music here. Let me give a quick spiel before we dive into the consultation. We dive into the music. I appreciate y'all being here so much. I think y'all are amazing. I appreciate y'all spending absolutely any level of time in this live stream with some of the community, with myself, Libby. Like, we appreciate and love y'all so much. Thank y'all so much for hopping in today. Nocturne, so good to see you. I hope you're doing amazing today. For those of you who have never been here before, Roke's in the building. Ro, it's so good to see you. Thank you for tapping in. I see you over on the purple app. For those of you who have never been here before, welcome to Track Talk. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the live stream. What we do here at Track Talk are 20 to 30 minute multiple listen consultations on the structure of your music. These are not quick reviews. There is no trash or pass. There's no ratings. There's no polls. This is a detailed long form, like I said, usually around 30 minutes, 2 to 3 different listens through your track, through your instrumental, through your song, whatever it may be, whether you're the artist, producer, musician, engineer, vocalist, songwriter, any level of, different formats of the way that you build your music. We spend that 20 to 30 minutes breaking down the song, listening multiple times to get into the details of your mix and master, production elements, sound design choices, lyric and song formatting, really getting into the nuances and the details of what you're doing both creatively and practically. That is kind of the structure of the live stream. Like I said, I'm not here to roast you. I'm not here to trash you. I'm not here to tear you down. I am not here to hype you up. I'm not here to give you exposure. If TikTok and Twitch and YouTube decide to blow up randomly and do some fun stuff, fabulous. I hope you get all of the eyes and ears on your music that you deserve, but it is not what I'm trying to get out of this live stream. It is not the way that I've formatted it or my priority in any way. If you get, eyes and ears on your music, fabulous. I'm just not trying to do that. It's just a byproduct every once in a while or not. But that is the structure of the live stream. For those of you who don't know, my name is Torvik. I'm a full-time audio engineer, producer, and session musician. That is the structure of what I do. That's what I do full-time. This is what I've done for the last 14 plus years. I'm also a classically trained pianist. So that is the structure of the live stream. That's the perspective of the live stream. I want to give value. I want to make sure that you are getting specific, professional, and actionable feedback on the structure of your music in any capacity. Let me double check a few things here. But if you would like to submit, I just want to make sure I get the line open. If you would like to submit, I got you, Caspian. If you would like to submit your music for a 20 to 30 minute multiple listen consultation, go to my profile, click on the link, and then just read through and follow the steps right there. Read through and follow the steps right there. We'll get you up on the board ready to go. If you would like to see the line order and minimums, those are on the other platforms that we're live on right now, the red or purple app, which you can see at my link as well. But yeah, if you would like to submit and you're on TikTok, go to my profile, click on the link, and then just read through and follow the steps. If that's too much work, Zach, Good luck in life. If you would like to submit on the Purple app, you can type !submit. I'm just prefacing all of the different platforms because it's a little bit different for everyone. If you're on the Purple app, type !submit. If you are on the Red app, just go to the description for the live stream. But yeah, if it's too much work in your life to click on a profile, click on a link, and read, then life's going to be challenging. Okay, let's get into a couple details here, but I appreciate y'all being here. Let's dive in. Let's dive in. We got 18 in the building. We got, this is Casper. I got Casper ready to go from the other day and a couple other that are coming in right now. So let's get some things rolling here. Let me double check a few things. 18, I got your email here. So let's read through this really quick. Let's see. I'd say I appreciate the people not going through with it because, yeah, no, literally, Libby, quite literally. I come back and with another trick question. 909 or 808? I gotta go 808. As far as like what I probably use more often, as far as like 80 sound design, like underline drum machines and stuff like that. If that's what you're talking about, I don't know, maybe that's what you're talking about. But if I were to go like vintage TR-808, I think I'd probably utilize more of that sound design and a lot of like the 80s production stuff that I work on. Okay, this is 18. The family, the myth, the legend. Let's get it. So I think the transitions between sections are better. Keep in mind, I heard the song yesterday, right? I heard this track yesterday. So there's some things we won't address, some things that are going to be fresh to me after some editing here. So let's dive into some of these details here. I think the transitions between sections are better. Maybe not perfect yet. That's fine. These are still a bit of a demo. Excuse me. And the chords are slightly different. Okay, we got some other updates here. 2 days ago, same difference. I don't know. Time means nothing to me. 2 days ago. Bridge is still literally under construction, experimenting with adding a little grime to it. Okay. Here's the thing. Overall, it's too smooth jazz. I actually love smooth jazz, but that was never the goal. It was supposed to be more like earthy neo soul. Not sure what to do to get there from where it is now. I realize that change may require a bit of work, including potentially changing around the samples, VSTs, and even rewriting the drum groove. That would be fine. Never afraid of hard work. I might actually make 2 versions, smooth jazz and neo soul. Anyways, as always, your feedback is valued and appreciated. Thank you so much. Appreciate you so much, man. Thank you so much for sending this in, man. Let's get into it. This is Smooth Dissonance by A10 Music. If you've never heard A10 Music, tap in with him. You can see him right there on TikTok. He's occasionally over on the Red app as well. There is no file attached to the email, so just do me a favor. Make sure that you send in the file, and I'll get to you in 2 seconds. Already asked to know I know how to stalk ET. Catch you soon. Hey, sounds good, Caspian. Appreciate you. No, you're good, A10. Take your time. I got you, man. We're here. We're not going anywhere. 18 Music. Let's go. Just drop an octave here. I need a bigger keyboard. Got you. All right. enough shenanigans. Enough shenanigans. We gotta keep it into it for literally. It's wild. 810, I got you, Ali. We're waiting on 810's email to come in. Okay, we got the email in. Can you make me cry? Maybe Kiko. I don't know. I could try. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate it. Y'all are amazing. I'm confused. Yeah, we're waiting on 810, and we're back into the music. 810, it's your time to shine. Let's get it. Once again, if you want to submit your music for a consultation like we're about to dive into here, go to my profile, click on the link, read through and follow the details. If you want to check the line, order, and minimums, those are on the other platforms that we're live on. I got you, 810. We're ready to go. Dropbox is here, ready to fire up. Let's get into it. So chill. That's already a different walk from the bass, right? And hear the transition again. Vibe, man. I have kind of a little bit of both, bro. A little bit of both. I have kind of an intuition on how to kind of make this make sense. Maybe we'll like it, maybe we won't, but 810 Music Productions, right up, you're on the chat, you're over here. Sorry, I'm backwards on my camera. 810 Music, a couple above you, a couple chats above you. Yeah, a lot of like manual input row. So it's not too quantized, it's not too on the grid, it's a little looser. Better transitions. A little smoother with the drum transitions and the rolls there, that's better. Crazy, go to my profile, click on the link, and then just read through and follow the details there. All right, we're about to get into it. Yeah, it's a switch. I could almost hear like a marching band doing something. It'd be cool to have like I mean, that's a different song maybe, but it'd be cool to have some of that energy there. What's up, Anima? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Y'all show some love. Show some love. Show some love. Yeah, some muted trumpets in there or like a cornet. Yeah. It's like leaning one direction or the other right there. Again, I heard the song 2 days ago, so there's some parts of this format we've already broken down. We're not going to dig in too much. Bridge doesn't even have a bass line right here. Okay, let me give you my gut reaction really quick, 810, and then we can get a little deeper into the whys and the hows and maybe some specific things to get into, since we've already broken down a lot of the structure that exists here so far. To me, there was kind of like originally this core production in a particular vein. And we kind of broke it up into then two kind of slightly, like in the last version that I heard, kind of two slightly different visions for the song. We can find a way to kind of connect them and transition them and stuff like that. And I feel like now, personally speaking, just taste-wise, right? Personally speaking now, I feel like we're starting to kind of fracture this record a little bit, where as it like started here with some interesting branches off of it, and then kind of building into a couple other versions and different like stylistic choices. Now to me, the song's starting to kind of fragment into a couple different versions of the original one that, to me, in my personal opinion, would be better to just have in their own world and be their own composition than feel like you're trying to do too many songs in the same song. Does that make sense? Now, if this was like a sync placement that was like kind of prompted, right? Like if there was a prompt for a sync placement and they said, we need to go from this right here into this right here. We need a breakdown into something over here with some more brass, whatever it may be. It would make a little bit more sense. Being this is like pre all of that, to me, it's slowly starting to break apart at the seams a little bit, where it's feeling a little bit fragmented. In my opinion, I would separate this out a little bit more. Like when I hear, and we're gonna chop back through it. We're gonna chop back through it and getting into some of the details here. Like here, this to me, I mean, I love some variety. I love a beat switch. I love things to be feeling like it's feel like it's going in a lot of different directions. But this to me, this is like its own song. I mean, this right here is just like a fire beat that you could get someone to rap on and have a couple other transitions, bring in like a hard 808. Just boom. Just like a heavy 808 at the bottom. Boom. Like this has all of the potential to live in its own space. And then two things are kind of happening. One, there's not enough of this happening for it to like really become its own animal, like become its own composition, where like I want to hear an artist do something on this on its own. I want to hear this and then drop into like a filtered verse and then cut back into it and it comes back again. I want this to be its own song right here, but it's so short because it can only live in this like 15-second pocket of this song that you never actually really get any of the energy from it. It just kind of comes in and it comes out. It feels random, feels a little bit disconnected. And I would love for this to feel a little bit more cohesive. Same with like a lot of these parts, right? Like you said, this is a little bit more in its own world, right? And this world right here, it's like, man, this is a beautiful part of a song structure right here. I would love for this to feel like its own entity and feel like most of this is working together in its own song structure. Catch up on a few things here. Let me see. Okay, yeah, I got you. Okay, anyways, that's my gut reaction. My gut reaction is like, I kind of want this. You think you can connect them? I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can. I don't doubt your ability to do that, and you having the skills to have the capacity to do that. I don't know, with what I'm currently hearing, if that makes for the most like cohesive record, right? And it doesn't have to be. Again, these are all just ideas, right? These are all just, I'm just tossing shit out there, right? It doesn't mean that it has to be that way. But in my opinion, I would really enjoy each of these living in their own moment and living in their own space. You probably can connect them, but I don't know if your ability to connect them is necessarily the issue. I think it's that, I think, yeah, maybe this is a better way of like saying it. I don't know if your ability or skill to connect these things will be your problem. I don't think so. I think if you connect them all, it will feel like there's too many things to be connected. You know what I mean? Like there's too many things to connect. That would be the problem, not that you have the ability to thread them and have some through lines and stuff like that. That's my gut reaction. 100%. Aiton, you're on it. You're on it. It's like, yeah, it's like it's like, I don't know. It's like ingredients for a meal. It's like, yeah, all of these different things can probably like work together and you can probably have them all there in some capacity. Should they all be there together? Like, will it be the best tasting meal at the end of the day or like the most connected? Maybe not. Maybe it'll feel like super quirky and there will be a small subset of people that just want that weird quirky thing. And it'll be really, really small subsect of people that just love what you do. They love your mindset behind what you're doing. If you want a more palatable record, not boring. It's not what I'm saying, but just a more palatable record by the average consumer and the average artist that you could potentially perceive getting on a record like this. I think a bit of a more concise structure would help with that. Again, like using that first sound design as a verse hook with the bridge, and then a last hook. Use this as like a product, just a hard hitting, beat. Build a verse for this, like make this a hook of another, like just copy this over to another record, slow it all down by 6 BPM, make it its own thing, and then live in there and then build that out a little bit more, right? I feel like you could do a couple like save as files here and separate this out into a couple different records and make each of those records incredibly, powerful and impactful in their own space. I don't doubt that you can make it happen. I don't know if it's the best idea to make it happen. I think it's gonna. Yeah, dude, I've done that a couple times. Every once in a while, I'll have a few ideas, and I'm like, oh, that's great, but I have too many of those. For me, it's synth melodies. It's going to be the thing that's my downfall. It's like synth melodies, and sometimes I'll have too many of them in a song. I'm like, oh, these all sound cool, and I like all of the ideas, but now it's muddy. Now it's noisy, and now I don't feel like I'm getting where I want to go. And so I will like do a save as, delete everything else but the other melody that I want to keep in the structure of the song, and then rebuild around that at a different BPM, just to like get me out of the rut of it being the same song in 80 BPM, right? You can just kind of separate it out a little bit, and it feels a little bit more interesting. There might be a little bit of that here where like all of these are great. They're all good melodies. They're all cool things that are happening. Can they thread? Sure. Should they? Maybe. It's up to you. Obviously, that's up to your creativity. You could 100% say like, no, I really want to figure that it's a self challenge. It's a personal challenge. I want to figure this one out. You know what I mean? And I have songs like that too. Productions I've worked on with clients for sure, where I'm like, hey, I'll call the client or whatever and be like, hey, this is a really tricky part of the song. This is not working that well. You're wanting this to happen. It's just not really connecting in the mix. And sometimes you're like, yeah, let's go ahead and change it out. In fact, can you just do a different bass line there and we'll switch it up? And other times you're like, nah, man, I like the feel. Let's lean into it. I'll be like, okay, here's the mix. Send them a file. So, this all comes down to taste. All comes down to kind of where you where you want to take things. Bridge to Size still doesn't feel cohesive. Let's run through it now. Let me give a fresh listen now that we've talked for a bit. Let me get a fresh listen. Let's dig into it a little bit. But once again, y'all, if you would like to submit your music for a consultation, go to my profile, click on the link, read through and follow the details there. If y'all are over on TikTok, do me a huge favor. Make sure y'all are tapping the screen. Share out the live with a few people. Don't forget to send your harmony for the day. It does really help out the live stream. And we will keep rolling through some music here. We got Casper coming up here in a little bit. All right, let's run it from the top. Especially like I've seen in the chat a couple times now that you're looking at potentially getting a vocalist on here as well. If you're potentially looking at getting a vocalist on here, that's where the structure is really going to matter. The progression consistency, the stylistic consistency, that's really, really going to matter. So all of this is kind of full circle. If you're like, man, I want an artist on here, whether you switch to a feature in a different pocket or go back and forth, you can figure all of that out 100%. Aaron, I would love to. Yeah, if anyone wants to submit, all that's at my profile. Click on the link, read through the details. Line is over on the other platforms that we're live on. All right. Absolutely. I mean, this is just a beat here. We get a lot of producers in here. I think there's also a small change in the progression lift right there, right? Because I think you changed from we were going to a semitone above with certain elements. We corrected it down or up. I forget the original a couple versions ago, but down or up a semitone in order to just realign some of those elements. Simply a beat, simply not just a beat. Emotionally speaking, simply a beat. A non-vocal. Yeah. Now I was going to say now it's a different progression there. Personal preference. I mean, I'd have to go back to actually, let me do that really quick. Let me see really quick. I'm going to go back to your actual, to your last one. I want to hear just kind of the differences, because sometimes we can edit our way out of really good records. And I want to kind of see what's happening here. Like take a step back a little bit. I'm going to go to the version before this, and kind of hear where it was at just briefly. I've done the reason why I'm saying some of this too is like I've just done that before many times where I've been working on a production, or even like when I'm doing session work, like I'm tracking synths for a client, whatever it is. Like I'll be in a session and I will get into something and I will have a pretty good idea and be like, it could be better, and I edit. The first version is probably the best one, and I edit myself out of it. You know what I mean? And before I'm like, wait, I don't even know what I was doing. One example of this is actually Michael Jackson. I forget the record, but Bruce Swedien, who is mixing one of the songs, I can't remember if it was like Beat It or a different song. I just can't remember off the top of my head, but they did like 90 mixes. Like how crazy that is. Like 90, 93 something like revisions on the mix of this record. And they went with like number 2. They went with like number 3. Like sometimes you're trying to get all of the ideas out of there, and you're pushing and pushing and pushing and editing and editing and editing, when in reality the best option was that. Now sometimes you never can confirm if that first option is the best one until you unload all of the other ideas and kind of come back around full circle. But I do think oftentimes, I've just been there many times, and so many other people. They went with number 3, but they did 50 plus mixes. Yeah, it's like sometimes the early idea is the best one, but we just don't trust our own intuition. That's why I want to listen to this previous version, because there's something about, I think, your bass line that I liked better on this one. So I'm just curious. Okay, I'm gonna go over here. Go back. I like the tension on this one. Yeah, I personally, this is just my opinion, right? But personally speaking, I like the tension of this first, the one. It's not the first one. This is 5/12/26, 2.4, number 2.4. I like the tension and the progression on this one better, and I think maybe even some of the sound design choices. I think I agree with Tep, where I don't know if it's differences in processing and noise activation, like triggered noise activation with the rim shot, stuff like that. It feels a little bit more natural. Everything feels a little bit, looser and more organic. Yeah, you're taking the words out of my mouth. Yeah, more organic. Like if I'm listening to this part of the song A to B, I prefer the previous version. It feels warmer. It does feel darker, but it feels warmer. Okay, but this comes down to the question. This is like the overarching question for this record, and then Casper, we'll move on to your song here in just a few minutes. The overarching question is like, now we started trying to hone things in to make, like, we started editing down some certain things to make this fit, edit this down to make this fit, edit this down to make this fit, where in my opinion, they probably just need to live in their own space, right? This comes back down to kind of that original question. 100%, Ted, 100%. They just might need to live in their own space so that you can just lean all the way into that, right? Like I would love a full record that you just lean all the way in to this really like dark, moody version with like really warm roads, a darker progression, a little bit more like noise and energy behind the rim shot. I would love like a whole record, especially if we're talking about like getting a vocal on here that lives in that space. And then you could probably still have some of this stuff as a little B section in there. Keep it nice and dark. We already talked about editing this one the last time, but keep it nice and dark, stronger transitions and stuff like that. And then leave the more like energetic, funky, more open sound design choices for a different record. Even if you need to take all of your MIDI, pitch it up a couple semitones, speed it up by a couple BPM to like just really let it live in its own space and feel like it's its own song. Like when you move into this section. Like if you just speed this up by 4 to 6 BPM, pitch it down a semitone. Kevin, thanks for the follow. You can allow this part of the production to really live in its own space. Add some brass to this. Like you can like really let this live in its own space and make it really energetic, soulful, make it funky. You know what I mean? You can really allow this part of the production to be its own thing. Right now, personal opinion, we're trying to edit down so many different things to like force them to work together that it's feeling, in my personal opinion, a little bit more disconnected. As opposed to, thank you for the follow, I appreciate it. As opposed to each section of this feeling like it's its own production, and it's a really powerful and impactful production that's easy to get a rapper or a vocalist on there, or like, R&B singer on some of these earlier sections. So that's to me kind of where I'm living. I kind of prefer the balance and progression on the version before a little bit. So that's kind of, where I'm coming from there. So let me get into, and I hope all this makes sense. And again, ignore all of it at the same, you know how I am. Like, this is your track, man. It's your creativity. It's, I want you to be authentic. I want you to be pure in your craft and hold strong to ideas that you have, and don't let people just toss it around. Like, I can tell you what my ears are hearing, and hopefully get your wheels spinning, get your creative juices flowing and stuff like that. But don't let any of this alter visions that you had. You're like, nah, I want this kind of a transition. I want to kind of edit this down into this world. I want it to be a little bit quirky and have some stronger transitions. Like, if that's the world you want to live in, own it 100%. I'm not here to change anything. Section 1 is like a James Bond cocktail bar moment. Section 2 feels like a Mary J. Blige found a new producer. Both are cool. Yeah, exactly. Both are great. That's the thing I love about Aiton's records. Like, I like all of them. I like when I'm listening to this, like, this is vibey. There's nothing wrong with this. This is great. This is awesome. Some cool, dynamics here. This is cool. Like, there's a lot that I really enjoy about this. It's just finding where they should exist, and making some of those decisions for yourself. Okay, let me get into this middle section here really quick. Yeah, if anybody would like to submit for a consultation, these are 20 to 30 minutes a piece. They're long, they're detailed, they're really nuanced. If you want to use, we'll go through your production or your arrangement as an artist, whatever it may be, your song. We go through it 2 or 3 different times. We spend about 20 to 30 minutes breaking it down in these consultations. If you want to submit for that, go to my profile, click on the link, and then just read through and follow the details there. We'll get you up in line, ready to go. Okay, and then Casper, make sure that you're, or no, not Casper. Why am I saying Casper? Chance. What am I saying? Chance. Make sure that you're in the building. You're coming up here in just a little bit. Thank you for the follows, y'all. I appreciate it. Perfect. Yeah, because back on this second, now third or fourth version, I guess, here, on this version here, we've now taken away some of like the noise and that hiss and that like vinyl, crackle and stuff like that. Because like we mentioned before, we're trying to pull it in a different direction. So, I mean, I don't know I hope the overarching point is making some level of sense. My personal recommendation is to space this out and separate it out into a couple different records, so that your question no longer applies, right? Like, if the question is like, should I go more neo soul? Should I go a little more smooth jazz? Should I make one like a cinematic pop record like over here? I'm like, yes, do either different productions that honor each of those different styles a little bit more concisely and a little bit more directly and intentionally, or do a couple different options of the same one. Like Derek, I think Derek Senna, I'm pretty sure. Derek Senna does this all the time, where like there's a couple tracks that I've done synth work on, or just tracks that we've worked on that where we'll do 7 different versions of a track, right? There will be a rock version and a pop version and an R&B version and I don't know, in a lo-fi version and any another number of versions beyond that. It's all over the place. What's up? Is it Panchico? Thank you for tapping in. I appreciate you being here. I thought the rim shot sounded weak, even though I like the vinyl effect, meaning on the previous version. To me, it sounds, strangely enough, I think it sounds weaker on the second one. Let me bounce back and forth real quick. So there's the second one. Whoops. Oh, they're both playing. It's definitely stronger on the first one. On the previous version, it's the sample itself is a little bit more transient. It's a little bit more direct. It's not as dark. So what you get is actually a little bit more, in my opinion, a little bit more prominence. It's a little bit snappier, and you get kind of the amplification or the almost decay that happens with, a couple of milliseconds of that vinyl noise, giving it some prominence in the mix because it has a couple other layers and textures to it. So going back and forth, like listening to this, it's a little snappier, a little bit brighter. That's a lot dark, like back and forth right there. That's a lot darker, a lot more kind of filtered down. I much prefer the first one, personal, just personal opinion. But yeah, I much prefer the previous one. It's got a lot more snap to it. It's got a lot more punch to it. You could always layer that a little bit. If you want a little more body to it, so you could keep the brighter one in there with the vinyl noise, and then supplement underneath it, even filtered a little bit more, another layer of another rim shot or cross stick, layered underneath there, way down, maybe saturated a little bit more to kind of beef it up a little bit if you want a little bit more of that darker feel to it. But I like the snap of this. It's a good contrast between like the dark bass progression that we were talking about, the Rhodes and stuff like that, and piano, and giving you something that kind of snaps out of the top of it. So anyways, that's, sidebar there a little bit. Let me get back into this second one here. But yeah, that's my perspective is I feel like we've edited our way into a couple different songs. And personally speaking, I prefer it feeling a little bit more connected, felt a little bit more, it needed some transitions. And I think you fixed some issues with this update. So there are better transitions, better movement from section to section. So it does feel more connected as far as what you're doing to transition and how you get from A to B and B to C. That does feel improved. That does feel smoother. That does feel better connected. So that's a huge, shift in energy right there already. What you are transitioning to me now, in my opinion, needs to feel more connected as each section starts to become a little bit more of its own thing a little bit. So the transitions themselves are cleaner. They're a little bit more connected, but what you're transitioning between has become slightly more disconnected. And so that's kind of the conundrum that I'm kind of figuring out here and kind of what I'm listening for. Welcome in, Adrian Papa. Appreciate you being here. All right, let me get into the outro here really quick. And do with that what you will, right? There's no, rule, obviously. If you want to keep it as is and dig into it, keep doing it. Sophia, welcome in. I want to A and B the bigger section here really quick. Yeah. This has like that brassy synth in the background too, so that feels a lot like warmer right there in the background too. So I'm kind of listening for things like that. And I think same snare, just less of, I think, the cross stick in there maybe. Yeah, same. Like when I'm hearing this stuff, I'm gonna go to the previous version again. Like, yeah. So, but I think it feels too smooth because we're started moving in a different direction, right? That's why that point right there, because I really like that smooth and I like these earlier progressions and versions. And I think that's why, and like, I think they just need to be two different things, two different versions. Maybe you have a more hyped, energetic version. Maybe you have a little smoother, jazzier version. I think they need to live in their own space. Cause like I meant, I've hammered this one too many times. I'm sorry about that. But what's up, Derek? Good to see you. We've moved in too many different directions where I'm like, we've taken out some smooth elements, but still have a smooth foundation. And so we've only reduced some of the things that were kind of gluing it together and warming it up, and all while adding some punchier elements like this, right? Totally different energy right here. Now it feels really punchy, but it's still pretty smooth for most of it, but it's like not quite all the way in any one of these places. You know what I mean? Like there's like, yeah, dude, same. When I'm doing major edits, like something like this, I save all the versions, all 15 different versions of a track. Like that's kind of what I'm listening for here, where it's like, we're not deep in the waters of any one of these different stylistic choices. And so it does feel, I think Ro on Twitch may have said this a bit ago, where it doesn't feel like we've committed to anything yet. And some of that might be intentional of like, yeah, I haven't, like, I'm still trying out a bunch of stuff. So I haven't really committed to anything yet, but you actually feel that a little bit in the song where it's like, it's not quite smooth and vibey because there's some things that pull you out of it. Some things that are kind of punchy and a little bit more major, like the shift in the bass. So it's like, it's not completely like dark and vibey and moody, but it's also not completely like punchy and poppy and happy and funky. And we live in this kind of limbo in between where we never get the full like emotional expression of each of these different feelings. That I would rather, like some people are already talking about, like lean all the way into smooth and vibey, still all your sound design, all your ideas, a lot of the ones that you already had, like smooth and vibey, interesting transitions, maybe still a couple sections in there, but you could get like a Frank Ocean style, like maybe even like a Pink Sweat style vocal on there that would be like really engaging and interesting and textural. And then you have another track that's a little more and you lean into this a little bit, could put a little swing on the hats and the snare. You get a really dope rapper on this song right here, and they live in their own space. And then you can even, like, since you know you have this, you can lean into it a little bit more. Get a clavinet in there with a wah. Get some brass in the background. You can make this really funky and really soulful, but allow each of them to kind of live in its own space a little bit. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. But that to me is like, I feel like we're a little bit too disconnected in the way that each of these different parts of the production are happening. And in my mind, I'm like, can we just lean? I was literally thinking about it, dude, lean into it. See, I think you have like, Nicole, welcome in. I appreciate you being here. Like, I think if you just lean into those intuitions that you have, because I think you have a lot of them. I think if you lean into those intuitions that you're having for these different sections of the song and just allow them to actually live in their moment, like allow them to actually live in that pocket of the song, be their own production, have their own artist on it. And same thing with your early version that's smoother, it's darker, it's moodier. Allow that to be in its own space, have its own artist, its whole production structure right there. Then I feel like each of those individual productions will be more impactful. They'll be more interesting because you can lean in a little bit more to each one of those there. And you'll be in a much better spot. Y'all show some love, man. Show some love. He talks too much but says nothing. World of greed. Just to wipe on through. Okay, let's keep it rolling. It's called track talk, baby. All right, so we talk tracks. Is what we do. It's funny, just people have like an expectation of. It's just I don't care. It's funny. Everyone has like an expectation of like each live being like tailored to what they want it to be, which is just so funny. If like you want it to be a certain way, just start your own live. Please show some love to the family. 18. I know I'm hammering home a lot of ideas here. I know we're really locking into a lot of different details here, and I don't want to put any added like pressure on you to morph into some other idea that's not what you're imagining. I just want to get your creative wheel spinning and get maybe even just like sharpen your own like surgical eye when it comes to the way that you're approaching your production, so that when you're listening to it objectively and you're just kind of laying it out and kind of seeing what's there, you can chip away at a couple things a little bit more surgically and dissect them and see them from kind of a different perspective. Because I know how close you can get to a production and how zoomed in you can feel on a song that it's hard to even like understand what's happening there and where to turn. And so sometimes it can be helpful to just like take a step back, zoom out for a moment and be like, maybe this is 3 songs. Maybe it's the same one. I can keep editing it down, but make those decisions without being so close to the record, if that makes sense. Appreciate you as always. Y'all, please show some love to A10 Music Productions. Appreciate you so much. Dude, I know how it is. I know all too well how it is. Carla, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you being here. Quick reminder, if y'all would like to submit your music for consultations, that's what we're doing right here. These are 20 to 30 minute multiple listen breakdowns of the structure of your music. We'll dive into your mix, production, sound design, song structure, whatever would be helpful to you. That's our goal, to add value in that space. If you would like to submit, go to my profile, click on the link, read through and follow the details there. If y'all are over on TikTok, I need y'all to do me a huge favor, because it's completely dead quiet on this end. Do me a huge favor. Make sure y'all are tapping the screen every once in a while. Share out the live with a few people. Repost the live. Send in your heart me for the day. It's just 1 penny and does really help out just the exposure of the stream itself. I'd really appreciate it. But let's keep it rolling here. We've got Chance in the building. IO Nuts over here. I just started to do some music. My scene name is Yanuza. Dance Floor Confession. Let's go. Welcome over to the Red App. I appreciate you being here. Welcome in. All right, Chance, you're from a couple days ago. So or not like a week ago at this point. So let me just double check here. I'm going to pull up the old file here. Got you right here. Beautiful. This is Not Alone. Let me get it downloaded. This is a song produced completely by chance right here in the chat. Quick reminder as well, if you are over on the purple app, starts with a T, if you want to submit, you can type !submit right there in the chat. If you're on the red app, starts with Y and T, then you can go to the description for the live stream. You'll see the link right there. All right, if you want to submit over on TikTok, just go to my profile, click on the link, redo and follow the details there. Thank you for the follow, Alex. I really appreciate that. All right, this is Not Alone by Chance and produced completely by them. Any other context, let me know. Any other context, let me know, Chance. Let's dive into it. As far as any other role that you play in the music, role that you play in the music, if you are singing and wrote it, let me know as well. I know the production obviously is you, but if there's any other aspects of this production that you had a role in, let me know as well. Mixing, things like that. Any details you want us to have, drop it in the chat.
Hey, baby, what's happening? How you doing? Once you have a man with no legs, you never go back, baby. I know what you're thinking. You see Paul getting best? We can make it, baby. Me and you. You bitch.
I'm so thankful for the way that you don't play about me, see me night or day. You help me keep my faith, won't let me go to
What's up, Ryan? Welcome in.
Girl, you know the case. Come meet me at a place.
Beautiful. This is all you.
I don't understand how I feel about you running through my head. My thoughts are consuming all the words that won't be said, but I can't help but smile when I see you in my bed. I'm not alone now, I'm not alone now. Your voice is in my head when I try to sleep. Girl, you got me weak, got me praying on my knees. You're an angel I can see with every little word.
It's a cool vibe.
I won't feel a thing without you right here in my arm. Addicted to that smile, baby, won't you sing along?
The fact that you've only been doing this for like 5 months is crazy. What are you recording on?
I'm sitting in the sky, those lips are my demise. How'd you see through my disguise? And girl, you didn't even try, just a simple passerby. Now you're teaching me to fly.
Nice. Right, bro? I mean, it took me 5 years to do anything halfway decent, much less 5 months. It took me 10 years to do something decent. Like,
Your voice is in my head when I try to sleep. Girl, you got me weak, got me praying on my knees. You're an angel I can see with every little word you speak. Must be living in a dream. I'm sitting in the sky.
a little double time.
Your voice is in my head when I try to sleep. Girl, you got me weak.
What's up, Tammy? Welcome in.
You're an angel I can see with every little word you speak. Must be living in a dream.
Happy Thursday. Good to see you in here. Appreciate you stopping by. Let's go, y'all. Show some love. Show some love to Chance. Chance, for one, thank you for your patience, man. I appreciate you. I know it's been, a week and a half, something like that, since you sent this in. So I really appreciate your patience. Thank you so much for sending in this record. This is Not Alone by Chance, who's right here in the chat on over on TikTok. So y'all, please show some love and show some support. Let's dive in. From the top, y'all, line is still wide open if you would like to submit your music for a consultation. They've only been doing that for 5 months. They've been producing for 5 months. They mixed it. They produced it. They did everything. It's their vocal, their writing. That's impressive for 5 months. I was saying rows over on YouTube. I was not doing anything like that in 5 months, man. For one, I was like 12 years old when I'd been producing for 5 months. But still, 5 months is crazy to be putting together like pretty cohesive records. Like, sounds like a song. Like, there's not a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, this is a song. It sounds like a song. It's got structure. It has production elements that make sense together, stuff like that. So, props to you, man. Flowers to you. Once again, if you want to submit your music for a consultation, go to my profile, click on the link, read through and follow the details. We'll get you up in line. If you would like to see the line, order, and minimums, all that stuff, they're over on the other platforms that we're live on, which you can find at my link as well. Rose said, I started at age 11, but by the time I took it seriously, I was 19. Yeah, about same. Like I started producing when I was 12, more intentionally. That's when I started using Pro Tools. 12 into 13 years old. Before that, I was recording on floppy disks on my old Clavinova and mixing on there. That's what I started with. Pro Tools 5 with the original Inbox and then Inbox Mini, early digit design stuff. Like that's how I got my start. But it's not like I was like taking on clients at 13 years old or doing session work. It wasn't till I was 18, 19, that I was starting to actually take on personal clients of, small bands and groups and artists and stuff like that. Baby Blue's in a building. What's up, Baby Blue? Do you like Logic Pro? Yeah, I think every DAW has its place. Every DAW has its place. If you like the interface, it has the tools that you want to use and an interface that makes sense to you at a price point that you have the capacity for. Run with it. Floppy disk. I had tape and only 2 reels, which were used by my dad and grainy as hell. Dude, I've got a TC355 down here right next to me. I'm trying to fix up. I got to figure out a couple things from the preamp, and then I'm getting some wobble on the decks. But anyways, I have a old like 60s Sony as a TC355, I think, solid state tape machine down here that I would really want to fix up. I have a collect reel, but I don't have an original reel. So I need to get some more tape for it. But anyways, yeah, I know I need to open it up. So I just got my collect reel. Let's go look out here. So I have my collect reel, and I have a couple other things that I'm still getting figured out on it. But I think I need to order a couple things. And just get it polished, get it worked out a little bit. I need your help to pick a good mic that would mix well with the phone. Yeah, Derek, I got you. Yeah, I have the email from yesterday. I think I just got notified. That is Derek Bennet. I got you. I got you. Yeah, let me know the phone that's going to pair with the phone. What do you mean pair with the phone? You mean record straight into it, or do you have like an interface for it? That would be the question. Inquiry. Oh, I could see that, Ro. Okay, let me see. Got you, Derek. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. No. Aiden, good to see you, Aiden. I hope you're doing amazing. Thanks for tapping in. If you're recording straight, I wouldn't necessarily recommend going straight into your phone. There's a lot of limitations in quality doing it that way. You can, obviously you already are to some extent. There's just some like basic, $20 USB-C mics or like lightning mics, depending on the phone that you have, that will connect directly and stuff like that. But you're honestly going to run into a lot of the same issues. What I would recommend, I don't know what kind of phone you have, but if you have USB-C, I would recommend either getting a used Universal Audio Volt Solo. It's USB-C. It can connect directly to like an iPad, directly to a computer, obviously, or directly to your phone if it has USB-C. So if you have like GarageBand or BandLab on your phone, you can record using that interface. You can find a used one for pretty cheap, and then just get a cheap, large diaphragm condenser mic to go into that. That will offer you just a lot more flexibility. To me, it's like there's no real reason to like upgrade from like a phone mic to like a $15 Amazon USB-C mic or lightning microphone or something like that. That's like still shitty and like still has a massive amount of limitations. You're kind of just flushing that $15 or $30 or whatever it may be. There's some nicer ones for like 40 or 50, but I do think, we're going straight into more support, more from in my opinion, I would like set aside a little bit of money. Just like, honestly, like even if it's like $10 a week, and just be regimented about it. Set aside like $10 a week, or if you can do more, right? But like set aside $10 a week in cash and just like put it in a drawer, flush it away, like put it away where in a place where you won't even think about it. And then before you know it, you'll have, in a couple months, in 3 months or so, you'll have $150 that you can spend on it. try to find a Volt Solo for like $90 and then get like a used AT2020 or a used MXL or something like that for like $50. If you can go a little higher, then you can get a Lewitt LCT 240 Pro. It's a dramatically different world. Like that'll be like you can get professional sound to an extent, professional sounding recordings with that. Like that's a different world now. But there's not a whole lot of a point of going from a tiny diaphragm little microphone, plugged straight into the headphones versus something going straight into your phone that's still going to be really cheap and really limited. In some ways, it'll give you some other issues you weren't dealing with before. So I would just recommend, depending on the kind of phone and connections that you have, setting aside a little bit of cash and then spending like $100, $150 total on getting you a setup that's going to be a lot more flexible. Because then the great thing is like if you get a Volt Solo, new they're like 150. Sometimes you can find them used for 100, 120. If you go that route, then inevitably when you do get a better microphone, you do get like a computer you can like mix and produce everything on, stuff like that, you already have the interface and the conversion to do it. You know what I mean? Like as opposed to like, I bought these headphones and they stopped working. And then I got this super, super cheap mic and then it kind of stopped working. And I tried to get like a USB mic for the computer for like $70. And then that wasn't really cutting it. And then you end up just kind of like flushing all this stuff instead of just getting what works right off the bat and just putting it off for a little bit longer. On my mixes, but I don't have a lot of support from it. Yeah, I mean, the only way you're going to get more support for that vocal in any like reasonable way is to move to large diaphragm or a decent dynamic microphone, but then you'll need an inline preamp, which is another $60 to $150 depending on the brand that you go with, stuff like that. So anyways, all that aside, Justin, I appreciate you tapping in. If you want to submit, go to my profile, click on the link, just read through and follow the details there. But yeah, a large diaphragm microphone is going to be what's going to actually offer you, a little bit more support. So then you just need even just a cheap interface for that. Okay, let's get back into this, man. This is Chance in the building. Chance did all of this. I think that's amazing, man. Let's dive into the details here, and let's get it rolling. And Derek, I got you up on the board as well. Appreciate you so much.
Hey, baby, what's happening? How you doing? Once you have a man with no legs, you never go back, baby. I know what you're thinking. You see Paul?
100%, bro. 100%.
We can make it, baby. Me and you.
Romano, welcome in.
I'm so thankful for the way that you don't play about me, see me night or day. You help me.
Okay, there's a lot that I love about this Chance. I think just even like vocal melody wise, you have good repetition, good pattern recognition here. There's a lot of different elements of this that, they feel chill, they feel easy to listen to, that I really appreciate. There's some parts of this that, again, a lot of this is just my personal perspective on the way that we're breaking down this production here, since you did all of this here and you've only been doing it for 5 months, which is crazy. Mammy, we're doing long form consultation. So we spent about 20 to 30 minutes doing consultations for artists, producers, session musicians, vocalists, songwriters, in any genre, absolutely any genre, any level of quality. It's gonna be all over the place. We're going from like lo-fi to hip hop to rock to country to pop, R&B, EDM, lo-fi, all the way across. It's all over the place. We spend 20 to 30 minutes listening to the track a couple different times and really getting into the details of it and the nuances of it, to offer some actionable feedback, some really detailed breakdowns for whoever is sending in their music. If y'all want to submit, or anybody wants to submit, see kind of what it's all about, go to my profile, click on the link, and then just read through and follow the details there. Okay, so a couple of the things to me, Chance, that are feeling a little disconnected for me in the context of this production is a lot of the brass work in the background. There's some times that I really, really like it. And then there's other times to me that it kind of contradicts the vibe of a lot of the other things that are happening. So you have this really like dark, like open, like almost halftime. And it's like slow and it's dark and it's saturated and chorused and moody. And then it's bum bum, ba-da-da-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum. You know what I mean? Like it's like very pop. It's really open. No, yes, welcome in. Incredibly energetic. And so there's a really big contrast. Some of this could be intentional, sure. But there's a really big contrast between like the mood that it feels like you want me to feel, like where I'm like, oh, I hear your vocal, I hear what you're doing with your layers and your doubles, I hear what's happening in the rest of the production, and I want to feel like chill, and I want to feel like this is like dark and slow and moody, and I just want to like listen to your vocal structure, and then bump, cuts into the middle of the mix right here. And it kind of just takes me to a different place. Kind of like what we were talking about with 8 a minute earlier, was it just kind of feels to me like it's its own thing. Like that would be great in its own record, and a different production structure that would respect that a little bit more, where you had maybe like, if it was like the double time of this, right? Trying to build it up, but I think I rushed it a little bit. So yeah, we can kind of tap into a couple different things, right? So one would be the way that you process that brass, right? When you listen to this early production here, even your early, vocal samples and stuff in here, early,
Me and you.
it's like a slowed down drum sample.
I'm so thankful for
What's up, Kopi? What's up, Jenna?
the way that you don't play about me, see me.
It's like filtered, it's like spread out, it's like slowed down. Everything is fairly processed. You get a nice little grungy bass in the background. Like it's a lot of things that I really, really enjoy about it. And then again, really like unprocessed brass, to where it's almost like session players in the background, or obviously like in this case, like VST stabs and stuff in there that are building up a ton of energy that we haven't like created a need for yet, if that makes a little bit of sense. We're already have a ton of energy, but we haven't even like let like this first verse settle in a way where I am anticipating some growth in the dynamics. What I would love to hear, honestly, first verse, personal opinion, I would love nothing but like bass drums and vocal. Like keep it like really, man, there's a song. Let me see if I can find it. I have it on one of my playlists here. Let me see. I'm going to try to find it because I think it'll be a good reference for you. It's a little bit different, but I think you'll appreciate what it is. Yeah, this right here. Okay, so listen to the vocal layering. Dude, I love it, Chance. And keep in mind, just for anybody that's in here, all of these are saved to YouTube. So if you want to be able to like go back and reference the live and the whole breakdown, every single one of these are saved. It'll be like episode 86 or 87 or something like that. There's a playlist on YouTube called Track Talk Livestream, and you can just go through and find your spot, and you'll see everything that you need to there as well. Okay, the song is called Something Anything by Maxime. Something Anything by Maxime. If you look up that song, if you haven't heard it before, I really like this artist. They do a lot of really kind of quirky things, but listen to, it's a filtered drum structure, doubled vocal with a chorus, then paired with like a heavy like synth bass underline, right? I think it's this song, pretty sure. Filtered drums, super saturated. Super simple. There's a little square wave layer. Little harmony at the top. But the actual production is super simple, right? Build it a little bit. Bring in just a guitar. Just bring in a little bit, like they just bring in a little bit of like a clean guitar with some strums right there. But the overall production structure is really, really simple. The mic is a Neumann M147 II. The actual production structure is really, really simple perceptively, but it still carries a lot of like interesting like emotion and feeling and stuff like that. But it's like, I'm only at least feel like I'm hearing like 5 tracks, right? That's kind of the vibe that I want to get a little bit more. Again, different song, different structure and stuff like that. Like there's a lot about your production structure that I really like, but then I feel like we are adding other elements that kind of pull us out of it. They kind of pull us out of some of the really chill, vibey moments here. So I kind of like the idea of coming in here, no brass, just drums, drums, bass, and vocal, really, really laid back.
I'm so thankful for the way that you don't play about me.
Just let this open up.
You help me keep my faith. Won't let me go to waste.
Yeah, exactly. Let this voice just sit in its own space. Connor, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Like just letting this voice sit in its own pocket right there. Completely different world. Now you're begging for more information to happen in the mix later on. That'll make it more interesting to listen to, but we already have all of that going on there. Okay, let's get into the chorus. Now with these brass elements in here, are you playing those on a VST? Or are you dropping in loops from Splice or something like that? Let me know. Just so I know the amount of control that you have over the different brass elements that you have in there.
'cause you don't understand how I feel about you running through my head. My thoughts are consuming all the words that won't be said, but I can't help but smile when I see you in my bed.
Like even here, I'd probably lay off a little bit.
I'm not alone now. Your voice is
Because I want that transition to feel like it matters, right? Like when you have the drums come in, the bass is in there, we have dun 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 dun. There's all that energy at the top. When you transition, one horn is looped from splice. Okay. When you transition from all of that energy already being in there straight into the hook, there's no real change from here at like 50 seconds. There's no real change in energy from here to here.
in my bed. I'm not alone now. I'm not alone now. Your voice is in my head.
It's a very, very like seamless transition in there as far as dynamics. Like we add like a pad. We add like a pad and the vocal goes a little bit higher in its register, but it's very, very consistent from one moment to the other. Okay, so in my opinion, probably on the verses for the most part, I would lay off the brass at the very least in the way that you have it. Now, there's obviously some ways with brass to like keep it a little bit smoother and easier and more chill, lower registers, filtered down a little bit, some chorus on there, like a Studio D would sound great on there, the roll-in chorus. You know, that would help kind of connect a little bit more of what's going on right there. And I think that could be really valuable. So I think you should potentially drop some of that from the verses, let the vocal do all the heavy lifting, let the focus go to that, have bass, have drums, maybe an electric guitar, you know, line underneath that or a loop underneath that to kind of glue it together and kind of carry it forward, but lay off some of the really stabby elements that are really slicing through the mix. On the hook, you can add a little bit more, but I would still look in the direction, drop two of the horns, wrap up for the first chorus, beautiful. I would still look in the direction of keeping things smooth and like even and really balanced as opposed to really energetic, because the amount of layers that you have in the track will help build your dynamics, right? Like just adding in the pad and then adding in a dun, dun, ooh, bun, like adding in like a brass that has like a little slow attack and release right there. That will give you some of the dynamics that you're looking for, building the energy and the tension without you needing to have the big choppy stuff. That's so staccato. It's so high energy. It just, again, this could be intentional and it still very well could be something that you want in the mix, and there's no problem with that. But to me, it just feels like it's doing a different thing than what your voice and the rest of the production is doing. Okay, let's get into this hook here really quick.
When I try to sleep, girl, you got me weak, got me praying on my knees. You're an angel I can see with them.
Like I would almost rather, I'm gonna switch here. Let me pull up this is in D major, so let me open up a track here really quick. Just for the sake of doing something. Just for the sake of doing something. Let's open up a track here. And let's add, I'm just gonna add like a free brass plugin just for the fun of it. Let's go to BBC Orchestra. This is a free plug. I'll switch over here for a second. This is a free plugin for anyone that wants it. That's still that. Let's go down here. Don't. Let's see. And let's bring this a little bit like lower dynamic, and I'm just gonna kind of drop some things over what's here and just kind of
That won't be said, but I can't help but smile when I
turn it down a little bit.
my bed. I'm not alone now. I'm not alone now. Your voice is in my head when I try to sleep. Girl, you got me weak, got me praying on my knees. You're an angel I can see with every little word you speak. I must be living in a dream.
Like even just that world, do literally whatever version of that you want. Like even just and you can do it in a different way too. I mean, we can bring up some of the energy and have stuff that are a little like this, a little more staccato. You can still have some of those layers in there, but to me, what this is just missing is more of those like slow attacks, slow decay, really moody. And then you have this like layered. So you have the, let me see, back here. Like, oh, it doesn't go that low. It doesn't get back here. I know the bots are always out. Bots are always out. I don't know, string bots not catching it or something. But anyways, having those like slower elements here, these like darker, where's my tenor trombones, right? These like darker, you can just add a bunch of chorus, a bunch of reverb to that and put it in a space. No, we're wide open, Joe. We're wide open. KS in the building. What's up, KS? I hope you've been doing well, man. Okay, good. I can't tell sometimes when it gets removed. But yeah, some of those elements of like just some slower, darker, lower attack elements here that don't feel like they're so, you know what I mean? Like really poppy staccato elements, especially in the verse. I would empty out the verses again, go back to drums, bass, vocal, maybe like one electric guitar, like again, stair step a little bit, add one electric guitar into there so it feels a little bit more alive. It's got a little more energy to it.
Addicted to that smile, baby, won't you sing along? 'Cause you're my favorite song, you have been all along.
I don't mind too much the little, I'm going to switch back to my piano here. I don't mind, you have some little, or like you have some little stabs in there. Those I don't mind so much. Not too much longer, like maybe another 5 minutes, or so, really quick. But not a whole lot longer. But to me, you can keep some of those. But what I would do, Chance, overall, is I would take kind of your vision for the song and make sure that you point all of your processing, all of your energy, all of the way that you're adding elements in that direction, right? So if you want dark, moody, vibey, slow, almost shoegazy in a way, like, reverberated and open and so on and so on. Okay, sounds good, Derek, sounds good. If that's kind of the world that you want to live in, at least for this particular song, then make sure everything else lives in that world. So if you're going to have that brass in there, even if you want it a little punchier, make sure, maybe filter it down so it's like a little darker and a little bit moodier, maybe add a chorus or a flanger to it so it gives it some spread and some modulation and some movement. Right now, it's like so raw that it feels like marching band on a really like dark, moody, slow song. And I feel like that's where the disconnect is happening, because I really like the dark, moody, slow song that's kind of underneath what's happening here. So lean more in that direction. If you add a guitar, you keep some of the brass in there, you keep some of these other production elements in there, lean a little bit deeper into those elements and make sure that everything's kind of pointed in the same direction. Everything's working together. Everything feels really cohesive. I'm a lyricist, songwriter. My demos are AI. Do you review those? No, yeah, absolutely, Mandy. Yeah, we can talk about songwriting, phrasing, building lyric structure, a lot of different factors within the way that you're writing your songs, so on and so on. Melody structure, things like that. Okay, let's get a little deeper into this here, and then we'll move on. Chance, hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully this is making sense to you a little bit, but that's to me is like kind of the same thing with one of the last ones. Art95A, if you would like to submit, go to my profile, click on the link, and then just read through and follow the details there. Yeah, if that's the mood that you're going for, to me, a lot of this just comes down to making sure everything represents that. Deciding like what is the aesthetic of the song? What's the message of the song? What's the aesthetic of the song? Is what I'm doing vocally and lyrically pointed in that direction? Is what you are doing as far as building your production and the way that things sound, the sonics of it, the aesthetic of it, is that pointed in that direction? And then, of course, the way that you process, the way that you mix, is that all pointed in that direction? And if you get everything pointed in the same direction, it will feel so much more like powerful, so much more connected. And for me, that is a lot of what I want you to do on the structure of this. I did it. You said last time. I don't have a submission from you unless it's just not refreshing over here for some reason. If you did submit, no, I don't have a submission from you. You might have just sent the email or something like that, but please make sure, Art95, make sure that you do follow both of the steps. So when you go to the profile, you click on the link, please make sure that you did read from top to bottom and you did follow those details and follow those steps, and then we'll get you up on the board. We'll get you ready to go. But yeah, I don't have I just checked through my stuff here and I don't have I don't have a submission from you. So just double check those details. Okay, let's get into the last section of this just real quick, and then we'll move on to the next track. So like here too. So like right here where the brass is doing all of that work, I would love to just have like I don't know if you have a guitar, or you could like, you know, plug one in, or if there's even some loops that would maybe take the place of this, or like a VST that would take the place of this, but just a like just like a melody that's like strummed, like it just power chords over the top of just the and like, don't do that. A little too diminished there, but just the having that like energy on those like 16th notes right there to like build in that energy. And I think that's where some of like you wanting to build a little bit more layering and more dynamics and have a little bit more energy into the hook and those parts of the song, you're doing right now with like really bright staccato brass, but you could probably fill that in with like a plucky synth on an arpeggiator. You could probably do that with like an electric guitar, just like heavy chords in the background, you know, carrying a little bit more of that energy along with the bass. It'll make it feel really cohesive with the bass and what the drums are doing there too. So just a couple ideas to kind of get your wheels spinning there. And then hopefully at the end of the day, I'm not too mad so far at like the balance of this. I think you just need to have the right elements in place, because right now part of the lack of clarity just comes from the brass kind of stacking in the middle of the song where the vocal is sitting, and they can't really coexist with each other too well right there. We got to kind of rebalance that. But if you are going to have elements like that in there, where you want to make sure that there's space for all of those elements to exist. All right, let's get to the outro.
Angel I can see with every little word you speak. Must be living in a dream. Sitting in the sky, those lips are my demise. Had you said through
Like even that, Dre, what do you mean by da? Even like that, like 30 seconds, whatever on the background right there, that background guitar right there. If you had like another sample like that, if you slowed that down in half, if you cut that in half, added a little bit of saturation, a little bit of compression, so it's kind of dun 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 dun, like, and built a little bit more tension right there. You could use that same sample as a part of your production structure in the verse. I'm sorry, on the that part of the structure on your chorus. So you have a little bit more tension, a little bit more energy right there. Over listening to music at that. Yeah, I'm listening to, we're doing consultations for artists and producers and musicians and songwriters. I use Pro Tools. If you're curious, it's right here. Oops, if I switch over here. That's Pro Tools. That's what I use. I've used that since I was like 12 years old. So I've been working on it for a while, but I've used most modern DAWs in some capacity over my time producing and mixing and stuff like that. Y'all show some love, man. Show some love to Chance. Chance, I mean, I really like your voice. So I like your lyric structure. I like your voice. I like the vibe and the aesthetic of like what you're doing vocally and what you're doing with like the vast majority of your production. Like I said before, let's point everything in the same direction. Make sure that every part of your production works together towards the vision of your song that you're really looking for. Because I really like some of these early sound design elements that you have in here. I think they're really interesting, and I think they work together really well. So I just want to build out a little bit more of those other sections and make sure that all of your sound design choices and the brass elements and stuff like that are all doing exactly what you want them to do. What do I got to do to listen to my song? Dre, so these are 20 to 30 minute consultations. We listen to the song 2 or 3 different times. If anyone wants to submit for a consultation, just go to my profile, click on the link, and then just read through and follow the steps there. We'll get you up on the board, ready to go. In fact, I think I just got another one in, so let me get this up there as well. We got Joe in the building. What's up, Joe? Welcome in, man. Welcome in, welcome in. I appreciate the submission. Let me get you up here. OMC, welcome in as well. I got you, man. It's been a minute. I hope you're doing well. All right, let me listen to this this last little section here real quick. Just to Yeah, there's like the halftime there. You can just use that same sample, overdrive it a little bit, and build that a little bit more into your hook structure right there. And I think you'll be in a much better spot. Y'all show some love to the family. Show some love to Chance. Chance, I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you sending that in. Thank you so much for the support, man, and for your patience. I really, really, really appreciate you sending in that track, man. It's a cool record, man. It's got a lot of really, really great bones. The fact that you haven't been producing for that long, I also think is absolutely fantastic, man. It's really, really cool. Y'all give it up one time. Yeah, we're in SA. We're back in SA. All right, let me double check. Derek, I got you. I appreciate you, man. Let me get you moved. Emsta, if you would like to submit, or anybody, Twilight Twine, thank you for the follow. If you want to submit for a consultation, go to my profile, click on the link, and then just read through and follow the details there. We'll get you up on the board. If you want to check the line order, minimum stuff like that, you can find them on the other platforms that we're live on, which is over on the red and purple apps. Okay, let me get these organized real quick. Shout out to Chance, though. Chance, I appreciate you so much. We got Derek in the building. So this is from the other day, so I should have it here. Y'all keep tapping the screen over on TikTok. Share out the live with a few people. Don't forget your heart me for the day. It does really help out the stream. But let's keep it rolling here. Let's keep it rolling, keep it rolling. Let's see. What are we at right now? 9.1K. Let me see something here real quick. Let's see what's going here. Kyle, welcome in. Give me 2 seconds here, y'all. All right, if we can get to 25,000 likes, we'll do a giveaway for the live as well. We'll do at least a 10 credit giveaway. If y'all can tap the screen, get the likes up to 25K, we'll give away at least 10 credit. That way you can get you up on the board for free, or get you a boost on the board if you're already up there. But let's get it. We got Derek Bennet in the building. Derek, give me the details. Chase, welcome in. I appreciate you being here. But yeah, tap the screen, share out the live with a few people. April, welcome in as well. This is Lead Me Gently Home, Father by Derek Bennet. I'm assuming this is another hymn remaking right here. So give me some of the details. Another hymn remake. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's get into it. Yeah, if y'all want to submit, go to my profile, click on the link, and then just read through and follow the details there, and we'll get you up on the board. All right, let's dive in. Let's dive in. Let's dive in. It's a higher energy start than usual.
Lead me gently home, my Father. Lead me gently home, I pray. When life's toils are over and my parting days have come, sin nevermore shall tempt me. Never from thee I will roam. If you lonely lead me, Father, oh, lead me home.
Scottish, go to my profile and click on the link, and then just read through and follow the details there. Thank you for the follow.
Lead me gently.
Is there going to be a hook there or just interlude? Let me know.
Lead me gently home.
DJ, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Got you. Okay. Just so I know the intention of it.
When life's troubles come, keep my feet.
I like the background melodies.
From wandering.
Sounds good, Mindy.
Less from the I roam. Lest I fall upon the wayside. Lead me gently home. Lead me home, lead me home. Lead me home, lead me home. Lest I fall upon the wayside. Lead me home, lead me home.
Cool breakdown. What's up, Michael? Welcome in. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Y'all, show some love to Derek Bennet Music. He's right here in the chat over on TikTok. Really quick, Scottish, if you are not able, is it Jerus? Thank you so much for hopping in. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for the rose. If Scottish, if you can't find the link, make sure for one that you go all the way to my profile. You got to tap my head twice so it goes all the way to my profile. You'll see a link tree right there. If it's not there, it's usually a regional thing. Just go to Instagram under the same name and you'll see the same link. So just look up Torvik Music on Instagram. It'll be the exact same thing over there. Yeah, if anybody would like to submit, Michael, in this case, we're not listening to popular artists or just songs that you like. We're listening to your music. Your music. If you make music or you are connected to music in any way, you are a session musician, you're a producer, engineer, vocalist, songwriter, something like that, and you want to submit for a consultation, go to my profile, click on the link, and then just read through and follow the steps there. The line, order, and minimums are over on the other platforms that we're live on. Jerus, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that a lot. But yeah, go to my profile, click on the link, read through, and follow the steps there. You're a DJ? Yeah, you can send it. We get DJs all the time in any level of genre or subgenre of electronic music. So if you want to send in your mixes, you want to send in your set or a track that you're working on, a remix you're working on, whether in this case maybe it's Evanescence, you can do all of that at the same place, but you got to follow the same steps. Okay, let's run it from the top. This is Lead Me Gently Home by Derek Bennet Music. He produced it. He is working on these remixing and kind of remastering of some old hymns and reimagining them in a lot of interesting ways. So it's not mixed at all, Ro. It's not mixed at all. It's very, very early. Okay, let's run it from the top. There's a couple little ideas that I have. One is where this ending part is sticking on the low. I think it's in B minor, if I'm hearing correctly. Yeah, on that low B minor there, I think it switches between a B minor and a G major. It could be nice to build some tension just holding on. Is it Jerusalem? Am I saying that correctly? Thank you for the roses. I appreciate you a lot. It could be nice to hang on that B minor there instead of switching between the two, build some tension since everything else is pretty fast paced, right? Like most of this production structure, welcome back, Jenna. Most of the production structure is pretty fast paced, like right off the bat. Like as soon as everything comes in, there's a lot of energy. So it could be nice when you go into this later section to slow everything down, make it feel, a little bit more, easy and just hang on the B minor instead of switching progression back and forth. And then there's a couple other ideas I have, but let's run it from the top. But yeah, if y'all would like to submit, go to my profile, click on the link, and then just read through and follow the details there. Lee, welcome in.
Lead me gently home, my Father. Lead me gently home, I pray. When life's toils are over and my parting days have come, sin nevermore shall tempt me. Never from the hour
What's up, Carter?
wrong. If you lonely lead me, Father, oh, lead me home.
Okay, so here's my, let's talk structure, I think mainly. Here's my opinion here. So you have kind of an interlude into an interlude. It's just like a measure or two transition here into like your main like kind of interlude in between your verse 1 and your verse 2 right here. If you're going to do an interlude, as long as you're going to do it with a transition that's a longer transition going into that interlude. Thank you for the heart, Major Roos. If you're going to do a like measure or two of a transition straight into an interlude that's pretty long, almost like a full like 8 measures of like, a full, almost like a hook going back into the verse. If you're going to do it that long, you need a really strong lead element to make that make sense. So if you're going to go into this section right here, I don't think we can just have like an easy violin. No, 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 no. That's like, that's like really smooth and really easy. We need like a lead element to come in, whether that's like a little bit sharper string or like a lead synth, almost like a solo moment. And then I might even want to like cut that in half. So it's not so much energy, so much energy for so long, and then you have to cut back again without a lead vocal there. Because the reason why I asked initially was because I thought it was a hook. The way that it was like built, I thought it was just a hook without the vocals yet. And you don't want it to feel like it's missing anything. You want it to feel like you're there, you're in that moment, and it's right on purpose. Okay, let me see something here. Will, if you want to submit, go to my profile, click on the link, and then just read through and follow the steps there. Let's see what I got here really quick. I'm gonna go to the. So like I would maybe even. I'm gonna switch over to a different spizzicato or spiccato here. It's not a spizzicato. Let me go to my intimate strings here, and I'll kind of show you what we're talking about here. Boom. Yeah, I got a piano lead part. Yeah, it needs something stronger. It needs something like it needs a lead. Like the way that we're like pizza with the Honda. No, I'm so hungry. It needs like a strong lead on it, because right now you have the and it's back there and it's pretty, but because it's as long as it is, and as soft as the lead tones are, we need like a really strong. I'm gonna bring up the close mics here. A little sharper, a little tighter there, and so let's move here.
If you know,
Build up, and then I beat down. Yeah, because it goes another. That's what I'm hearing.
leave me.
Yeah, it's because the piano part with the short string. Yeah, maybe I'll listen for the piano part. It's because of the different transitional elements right there that make it feel a little bit longer. I would have those probably a bit, if you're gonna do those, a bit shorter. But I do think we need kind of. Like there's a lot more energy and snap to something there. And then, excuse me, come on, sneeze. Nope. All right, burns. Let me back it up. Because we have this transition here. Because you see how it's like a double right there? In my brain, please understand you don't have to do any of this, and you can keep that original vision. It's gotta make it strong, because everything kind of feels double to me, because we have like a full there's 2 measures on the transition right there, 2 measures on the transition out, and like a full 4 to 8 measures in the middle. So what's happening, like what I imagine is lead me home, boom, and then we're in, right? Like a big, strong transition, great energy shift, but not for another measure, right? So like, let it settle here, and then, and then, like if it's right there, and then, and you go into like something like that. It could be different. It could be what the piano's doing in the background, but having it go then another measure after. Like I want it to hit, boom, right here. Then it goes again, builds up again. I would just do that like second half and move it forward. Of course, yeah, absolutely. Any genre, any style, any language. I would just move like that part back, cut that in half, move the second part where you're rising and you're building up with the big drum hits, move it back those, 2 counts earlier. And then maybe do the same on the outro to it. And then have, so shorter, tighter, more impactful transition. And then good, strong lead element for the breakdown itself, both times that you do it in the song. And then maybe a shorter exit transition from the breakdown back into the verse. Let's go. right there. Like I'll shrink it down a little bit. It needs to feel closer. It needs to feel more connected. It needs to feel like the ride that we're on is a bit more like intentional and purposeful as you're kind of digging into these moments right here. So like I would come in shorter and sharper, strong lead element, and I would come out right here with just just the measure 2, 3, 4, and then verse. So like cut, personally speaking, I would cut those in half. It's going to make those transitions way sharper. And it's going to make the song feel like it's really moving along. You know what I mean? Like right now, it can still, even though the energy, this is one of the weird things about music, right? Like it's obvious that, Sergio, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. It's, or Sergio R53. It's like there's tension there. You can feel like all of these early productions, right? It's got all this energy. It's fast paced. It's like 30 seconds in the background. Like there's definitely energy there, but like we've mentioned before, too long of that energy sometimes, and even the fastest, craziest thing can feel like it's losing some of its impact, right? So that's like here, it's like we have these great transitions and you did it once and I was like, oh, I'm ready for it. But then we kind of did it again. I was like, okay, it's a little bit longer. Then we do that little breakdown right there. Sounds great. Just needs a little more of a top, like a top line there. We come out of it, I'm like, ooh, cool drum transition again, expecting the verse, but then it goes another measure outside of that. So we're waiting a little bit longer once again. Those are those little moments that I think if we make them more concise, more direct, more intentional, dude, it'll feel super punchy, super energetic. Okay, let's get into this B section here.
Lead me gently home, my father.
To be honest with you, I kind of wish the first verse started like, this is taste. Do whatever do whatever makes the most sense for what you want to get out of the song. I kind of wish the first verse sounded like this too, more restrained, and then you can open it up.
Lead me gently home, I plead.
And then like open up these filters.
In life's darkest.
That's that shift in energy constantly. That's the stair stepping of dynamics that we always talk about. The difference is here on this first verse.
Lead me gently home, my father.
Stay there.
Lead me
At this
gently
dynamic.
home, I plead.
Sounds cool. Stay there.
When life's toying your.
There's some new elements that come in right here, but although there's some new things that happen over the time, the main like percussive and bass elements, like the main things that are determining your dynamics are the same. So I like that here. Like it would be cool to build this up and then break this all down. You know what I mean? Like have this big reverse. Oh, my father. Like have like it restrained and filtered down, and then halfway through B section, 4 measures in, 8 measures in, you open up the filter just like you do on the second verse and create a bigger step. So we are stair stepping there, but not in a way that's really obvious because the percussion and the bass is holding at the same space. I would make it more obvious and have like a darker filter just like you do on the second one, and then open up that filter, add in the new elements on the B section there. That's going to make that first, because the first verse feels really long at that dynamic with the all those like 16ths in the background. That feels like it's a lot of that energy for a long period of time. And I would love to chop that up a little bit without just adding like another string, but actually changing some of the filter there. Because this sounds great. Filtering all this down.
Lead me gently home, I plead.
It just gives you so much more room to open up.
In life's dark.
So much more anticipation's happening. And then you have, yeah, that little high little part in the back.
Kissed our father.
Beautiful little texture at the top. Like this buildup sounds way more natural. And it really pulls you along. Jay Swanbrook, can you rate my song? We don't do any ratings here. There's no polls. There's no ratings. There's no trash or pass. What we do is a 20 to 30 minute multiple listen deep dive consultation. So if you would like that, that is what we do here at Track Talk. We'll spend 20 to 30 minutes breaking down your track, listening to it 2 or 3 different times to really get into those details, dive into the nuances of your song, and hopefully offer some actionable feedback and really get into the details of the way that you're building out your record, whether you're the artist, vocalist, songwriter, producer, engineer, whatever it may be. If that's interesting, everything's at my profile. Just click the link there, and you'll be ready to go. Joe, I see you. I see you. I see you. Okay, let's get into this next section over here.
On the wayside. Lead me gently home.
Good build up here. much more direct right there. I do think over the snare right here, you might there is some claps and some other stuff in there that I really like. So there's a lot that I think you already have locked into the sound design. The vast majority of this sounds fantastic. I wouldn't even worry about it. I do feel like we do need to open up this top end just a little bit more. It's very, once you hit this, when you hit this big part right here, we're missing like that openness and that snap. So you might want to like layer another clap. What's up, Rissa? Welcome in. Your fave, new name. Welcome in. I appreciate you being here. It's good to see you stop by. On this like clap right there, if there's a filter on the clap, maybe open it up, or if you can add another layer in there that would have a little more, a little bit more openness, a little bit more brightness in there. I do think that would help push this, because right now the snare does feel a little bit suppressed beyond just like the mix of it, right? But the actual snare sample itself, it's very filtered down. I would love to just like open that up with a little bit more high end, another clap, or even another snare sample that would give it a bit more snap and a little bit more openness. I do think would be really nice. All right, let's get into the outro. It's time. It's a dope production, man. It's really, really cool. I love the building of the layers here. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. It could also be cool, since this is a long interlude here. Again, we need a powerful lead element, so we need a little... We need a strong, punchy lead element right here. On top of that, I would bring back like a vocal sample here as well. Like, even like bring that in as another chop, another sample here. Build it up. Strong lead melody. You know what I mean? Like, have some of that like added, ad libs and some like added tension. Like having some of the lyrics and maybe that are already in there, have them record some fresh ad libs with like the high octave right there, the high register. We need a top line here in some level, whether it's like sampled new vocal structure or it's another layer that already exists in there. Jamie, welcome in. Like if it's another layer, just chopping a part of the hook or some of his other ad libs in this outro right here. If there's no top line beyond just the some of the strings that are there and the piano that's there, I do think you'll miss some energy on the outro of the song. And to me, this is still kind of the climax, right? We're still in our final breakdown. I still want, some big staccato moment there, some lead element and or like a lead vocal line right there that gives us a little bit more energy at the end. Like just one big last ending line right there. Maybe they can like hit that last like, lead me home, and just push that last vocal there. Give it a lot of edge, a lot of energy to just really make the ending more climactic as opposed to a kind of settling back into the drop right there. Some level of that. Do a guitar, whatever, guitar solo. It could be any number of things, but get a lead element there, make it punchy, make it strong. This is a really dynamic breakdown, which I love. I think he produced that really, really well. So I think the structure of this beat, I think is awesome. Like I said, certain things we can consolidate a little bit potentially if you want to, but the overall production structure I think is fantastic. The vocal's doing a great job. He's got a really strong vocal as well. Y'all show some love, man. Show some love, show some love. That is the one and only Derek Bennet. Derek Bennet in the building, man. I like this a lot. This is a really, really strong production. Very, very strong production, man. And I'm absolutely loving the direction that you're already headed with this. That is Lead Me Gently Home Father by Derek Bennet music right here in the chat. Please go see what he's doing. Follow him. Tap in with him, hire him, all of the above. He's an amazing producer, amazing composition. He's an amazing composition. He is. He's an amazing composer. Enjoy the game, man. Enjoy the game. I hope you have an amazing rest of your night. And y'all show some love to Derek. Let's keep it rolling. Once again, Once again, if you would like to submit your music, go to my profile, click on the link, read through, and follow the steps there. You can see all of the details that you need in order to submit your music for a 20 to 30-minute multiple listen deep dive consultation. We'll break down your mix and master, production elements, sound design, lyrics, song format. We'll really get into the details and the nuances of what you're doing, both practically and creatively. If you want to submit, everything's at my profile. If you're on the Red app right now over here, you can go to the description for the live stream to submit. If you're on the Purple app, you can type !submit, and you'll see the link pop up for you right there. But let's get into it, man. We got our next track here from Joe Allen Christie. It's been a minute. This was recorded at Rosewood Studio and mixed by me. My first time giving mixing a go. Let's go, Joe. This is my mix. I took apprenticeship and I'm mixing my own stuff from now on. I love it, dude. I love it. You're gaining some autonomy over your sound. Pros and cons to that. It can be frustrating at times, but it also can be incredibly liberating and freeing to have control over your sound. I recorded this at Rosewood Studio in Tyler. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Let's get it downloaded. This is 1984 by Joe Allen Christie. Let's get it. Hey, welcome in.
I've been thinking back to 1984.
Talk to me about the production a little bit too.
We lived life in and out that old screen door. Us kids always had something to do. Mom still
doing pretty good.
loved Dad, and he loved her too. Life was good and the world was right. Mama's in the kitchen making chicken and rice, and Dad spent Saturdays under the hood. And we played outside till the sun went down. Grandma and Grandpa were still around. Who could ask for more? Back in 1984.
Always loved your voice, man. It's got such a great texture, great character.
It was one hell of a year in 1984. Nothing but good memories.
What's up, Haiti?
From our front porch. Well, I was still small enough for Granddad's lap. Sunday church as a family, nothing better than that.
Definitely.
Life was good and the world was right. Mama's in the kitchen making
Yeah, it's tough. It's a different world. I'm so glad you're diving into it, Joe. I'm so glad you're diving into it. It does feel like a different world sometimes. It's like you know what you want to hear, but it can be challenging sometimes knowing how to translate that, translate that from your vision to the execution of the mix.
Back in 1984, the year went by and everything changed. Dad left home, I thought I was to blame. And oh, how I cried when the good Lord called Granddad's name. As much as you want, nothing ever stays the same. But I sing these words and play a few chords that take me back to 1984.
Always great lyric structure, good songwriting, good storytelling. We need to ride that fader, get that lead guitar to the front.
Life was good and the world was right. Mama's in the kitchen making chicken and rice. And
Beautiful.
Dad spent
Awesome, Joe.
Saturdays under the hood. And we played outside till the sun went down. Grandma and Grandpa were still around. Who could ask for
Definitely, AJ.
more?
This is their first time mixing their stuff. No, not at all, Sneak. We just came from pop records and rap records and, cinematic productions all over the place. All genres, all levels of quality. Recorded the vocals yourself. Let's go, man. Amazing, amazing. Amazing, amazing. Y'all show some love. That is 1984 by Joe Allen Christie. Let's dive into it, man. Yeah, keep in mind, if y'all are wanting to submit, we have time for a couple songs left. A couple songs left. If you would like to submit, this is absolutely any genre, any language, any style, any level of quality. I say this all the time. Within the same live stream, we've had voice memos of people humming in a Starbucks booth to like help them build chords around their melody they had an idea for. And we've had Grammy-winning musicians and producers submit their music. So it's all over the place. There's a lot of variety. This is not a place where we're here to just hype you up. This is not a place we're going to trash you. In fact, there's no ratings. There's no polls. There's no trash or pass. It's a 20 to 30 minute deep dive into your music where we listen a couple times and really get into the nuances of it to help, give some actionable feedback and give some specifics as to ways that you can polish and improve on what you're doing, and also just show some love to the individual choices that you're making that are helping build out your music, especially if it's great quality. So if you want to submit, all that's at my profile. Click on the link. You'll see the steps there. But I appreciate y'all tapping in. On a Warm Audio 47. Okay, beautiful. Was it a 47 Junior, the solid state, or was it the WA47 full, because they have like 3 of them. They have the 47 Junior, the 47 FET, which is the big boy, and then they have the Tube, which is their top of the line one. It's like $900. Let me know which one. Okay, not that it matters that much, but that is 1984 by Joe Allen Christie. Let's get into it. Okay. One of the biggest things that I want you to kind of, the 2-1 Beautiful, yes, that's the best one by far of the 3, depending on the application, of course. The Junior is a good price point for a cheap microphone like that. It does the job, but the Tube is head and shoulders above them. The FET 47 I've used for kick drums, bass amps. It's actually pretty solid for stuff like that. Anyways, sidebar. The thing that I want you to focus on for me, like currently, and just breaking down this mix and opening it up a little bit, I would love for you to work on your panning and positioning and levels, right? Those 2 things for me. It's like, yes, we can get into processing. Sure, this could use, it's a little dry, so maybe this could use maybe the slide could use some reverb, maybe the acoustic guitars could use XYZ. Sure, all of those things can be polished. I'm not too worried about that. I think that will happen over time as you dig into this a little bit more. I would love to open up this mix a little bit more in your panning, start to create some separation between different elements. And at the same time, as you gain more clarity for what's existing in your mix by separating it, you can decide a little bit cleaner kind of where you want things to sit as far as your gain staging goes, as far as like the actual amplitude and loudness of the elements in the mix. Right now, the vast majority, After Dusk, welcome in. The vast majority of what I'm hearing is coming at me pretty close to mono. So the mix feels fairly small, not even just loudness wise, but openness wise, vibrancy wise, stereo wise. It feels a little bit small. Most of your elements, obviously your lead vocals, most of the drums, there's some piano. Piano is pretty far in stereo, so you have a nice wide piano image in there. That feels pretty good. It could come forward maybe a little bit, but it is pretty far out. A couple other elements in the background, like your slide, your electric guitar, those are all fairly close to center right here as well. And then the acoustic, I would definitely have double tracked. I don't know if you did double track. If you did, create some separation from that as well. So if you do have like 2 acoustic channels there, get them opened up just a little bit as well. Get one at least, maybe 50% this way, 50% this way. If not more, if you want a wider image. But again, the thing that I'm hearing is everything's a little bit kind of collapsed to mono. It's a little bit close to mono. So we're not getting this like wide open, vibrant, energetic mix out of the production. I got steel on the right and electric is left. Do you have any acoustic? There's some acoustic guitars in there too. So just the acoustic guitars are on the right side, or are you including some other elements in there? And let me know how many channels of that acoustic you have as well. Chris, if you would like to submit music, go to my profile, click on the link, and then just read through and follow the details there. So I hear the acoustic pinned right there. Yeah, I can hear the acoustic with the slide in there as well. Yeah, I hear that second acoustic in there too. Yeah, they're like right here, They're like right here. So that's where we need to create some openness. And so if you're going to have that like slide in there, you know, if your like pedal steel in there, if you're going to have that, have it like offset of the vocal a little bit more, like have it out of the way of that vocal by just another couple, you know, percents, get it out of the way a little bit. Mattia, welcome in. I appreciate you being here. Welcome into the live. Get that out of the way just a little bit, and then double track those. The acoustics are already double tracked. Or at least mic'd in stereo, maybe. Get those positioned out, right? How far out is up to you. That's up to your taste, right? And what you want, what the character you want the song to have. Sometimes I'm 100% to the outside. Depends on the song. Depends on the reason why the acoustic exists there. Sometimes it's all the way out 100% left and right. Sometimes it's 50%, 60, 70%. You know, just kind of depends on what you're looking for. But what the song definitely needs is some gaps between everything here in mono and the really, really wide pianos that you have on the outside. Those are nice in stereo. Those feel like they're all the way to the outside. We need to bridge in those gaps a little bit and start to fill in from, you know, 0 in mono to 100% on each side. Start filling in some of those gaps. Okay, starting from the top. Let's dive into a couple details here. Looks like for some reason my steel wasn't pinned. Okay, it could be some random automation issue. You can double check that, maybe delete some automation lanes and see if that doesn't give you any issues right there. Sometimes if you have like an automation for something and you panned it out at a particular part of the song and like printed that, so when you restart the song, it pops back to mono. Check some things like that. But yeah, it definitely should be offset. Things should be a little bit wider, a little bit more open. Yeah, because that's all right down the middle. Guitar's a little bit, electric's a little bit left right there.
I've been thinking back to 1984.
Mario, welcome in. Yeah, get the acoustic definitely a bit farther out as well. Right now, again, everything's like kind of right in here. Start to open that up quite a bit wider. I think the acoustic could go almost 100% if you want to. Really open up the stereo field there, especially because that's double tracked. You know, the electric, you know, obviously the pedal steel, the slide right there, that can move to the right a little bit more. That can open up a bit more. And then the electric guitar, I don't mind that that's offset just a little bit as well. But yeah, I just want to start to take some of these background elements and push them out, right? Not widen the whole thing, but just position better so that this mix feels really vibrant and it feels alive. It feels like it's open, it's got movement to it. Right now, since everything is kind of mono, you know, the lead electric guitar elements, those slides are right down the middle, drums, bass, lead vocal. Most of those are just, they're right down the middle right here. So we need to open those up like crazy. That alone will transform the way that this sounds. Do you think the vocal performance is good enough, or should I re-record? Let me get a little deeper into it because I've been focusing on production. Let me get a little deeper into it, and we can talk about that.
Life in and out that old screen door.
I mean, most of this I really like. I really like the piano. I mean, I do think the piano sounds really nice.
Us kids always had something to do. Mom still loved Dad, and he loved her too. Life was good and the
100. Okay, so I do like your vocal. I don't mind your vocal performance. Everyone's got a different taste for this, right? But I do like your vocal performance. We 100% need layers for your hook. To me, it's like a non-negotiable. In this style of music, not layering like some either pedal tones or like third harmonies over your hook is just a disservice to the dynamics of the song. You do have a great voice. You have great lyric structure, good messaging, and good perspective on your songwriting, like your storytelling is always amazing. But we are losing a lot of steam by trying to maintain that same vocal structure all the way through. We definitely need like a third harmony, and I would track at least two. I would track at least one on the left side. I'd track another one on the right side for like a third note harmony on either side, maybe even a double of that vocal going into the hook. Give that vocal some support so it can compete. Once you make this mix more vibrant, once you start opening up your panning and your positioning and making this mix feel a little bit more full, a little bit more dynamic, then we can start to position this out in a way that I think is a lot more enticing to listen to. But we definitely got to get some other vocals on there. To me, it's a non-negotiable. Otherwise, you have a singular mic, a singular mono microphone in the middle with your vocal competing against 10 mics on a drum set, 2 mics on a guitar cab, a steel slide, a stereo guitar, a synth in the background as a pad, you have 20 other elements competing against one vocal in the middle of the mix. It's just, there's not going to be nearly enough energy behind it. And so give it some support, give it a little bit of life, give it some energy, and that'll help. I think the performance is fine. The performance to me matches the dynamics of the song, so I really don't mind it. but it just needs support from other elements. It doesn't need to be just like louder or more excited or anything. It just needs support. I think support is oftentimes a lot of what's missing in songs, not necessarily that you need to like rap harder or sing louder. Like sometimes it's just you need elements within the vocal structure to compete with other elements in the mix. If that doesn't exist, it can be challenging to kind of push the song forward.
The world was right. Mama's in the kitchen making chicken and rice. And Dad spent Saturdays under the hood.
Some good lines in here.
And we played outside till the
Perfect.
sun went down. Grandma and Grandpa were still around.
You know what I mean? Like just third notes there, a female vocal would be nice, or do your own. You could go either way. I think like female backgrounds, I think would be really nice in here. But of course, you can easily do some layers yourself on those third notes, double of your vocal. And then again, positioning. So once you get those vocals in there, get them at least 50% to the outside, maybe more, right? 50 to 75%. One thing I want you to keep in mind, especially as you're getting into mixing your own stuff, the more that you like isolate these signals on the outside, the more that you push things wide and pan them all the way hard left and right, they become incredibly like isolated and distinct in the mix. So the wider that you push something in the mix, the more perceived loudness it has as well. So keep that in mind. Like you might like push those acoustic guitars to the outside, like, oh, these are way too loud right now. You might need to turn them down 2 or 3 dB. You add some vocal layers, like, oh, these sound fine. You open them up a little bit and push them to the outside. You're like, oh, these sound crazy now. So you might want to back off some of the elements that are a little bit wider, and then I think you can create a bit of a better balance from there.
Who could ask for? It was one hell of a year in 1984. Nothing but good memories from our front porch.
Yeah, because I really want the electric guitar and acoustic guitars to drive this a little bit more. Right now, you can hear the this like tiny little guitar in the background. Prominent piano, don't mind that. Prominent piano, prominent guitar. Drums are a little bit down right now. They're maybe a little bit low. We can definitely, I don't know the tracks you have for drums. If you have like overheads and you have direct mics for the different drums and stuff like that, I would definitely open those up a little bit as well. It depends on how, if you have all the tracks on one stereo track, or if you have all of the individual mics, you want to start opening those up a little bit, like start pushing the overheads or maybe some room mics a little bit wider so that you can make this sound. Again, same thing, open it up a little bit. All the drums are in mono right now, so they're all coming at you right down the middle. I would definitely start to pan those out. I typically like to have the stereo overheads, if those are how they exist. Stereo overheads wide, 80 to 100% wide. Those are nice and open, and then start positioning your direct mics accordingly. Kick and snare right down the middle, high tom a little bit left, second tom a little bit right, third tom a little bit farther right. That's a drummer perspective, tom panning, and then like wide rooms and wide stereo overhead. So if you do have individual mics, get into the panning of each of those as well. If they're all just right down the middle, then you're gonna have this really small kind of isolated drum mix, as opposed to this like wide open, again, vibrant mix on the drum. So make sure that you open those up as well, and just look at the labeling for each of those tracks if you do have them individually, so you can kind of see where everything's positioned. But the biggest thing, I don't really want you to touch too much other processing, because most of it's pretty clean, pretty smooth. I don't have really any issues with that until you start positioning everything else. I wasn't sure about how I should pan the drums except for the snare and kick. Yeah, I would. I usually kind of run everything to the, compared to the overheads, right? So the overheads are exactly what they are. So if you do have a stereo pair of overheads, start there. Typically, you don't have to do this. You'll hear 50 different engineers talk about it a different way, but typically speaking, I kind of put everything as a comparison and kind of a contrast to the overheads, right? Or like in context with the overheads, not contrast, in context with the overheads. So the overheads is your snapshot of the whole kit, right? The overheads, like in my kit, actually I have them right here. These are what I because I'm moving some stuff around the room. This is what I use for my drum tracking for overheads for anyone's interested. These are the Loudon Audio LA 120s, the stereo pair. I love these. I think they're awesome. I've been using those for years on drums. Anyways, on those right there, on the stereo overheads, that's your snapshot of the whole kit. You have the overheads, beautiful. That's your picture of the whole kit. So you can have that in stereo nice and wide, right? Like if you want to, you can push those 100% left and right, and that's going to give you this big, wide stereo image of the kit. You can go more narrow if you want to. You don't have to go all the way out, but that's your whole picture. That's your main full picture of the kit. Now, if you feel like you're missing something, we need a little bit more of a direct signal on any one of those different elements that are direct mic'd. We can feed those back in. We can check their phase against the full picture, right? So if you have a snare top, you might even have a snare top and bottom, right? Depends on how they mic the kit. If you have a snare top, you pan that right into the middle and you're like, okay, we need a little bit more punch, a little bit more drive from the snare. I'm going to feed in that direct mic. If it feels like it's giving you some weird phase, you might want to switch. You might want to flip the phase on it, just depending on how they mic'd it and how good they tracked it. You can get into some of the details of that. It needs a little bit more thump from the kick. We bring in a little bit more kick. We give it some energy. We give it some punch and give it some drive. And then, start to bring up the toms, stuff to, some of these other elements and bring them up in balance. But it is all against the balance of the overheads. That's what I would kind of keep as your main picture. And then on the other side, if you're going to like bring in some rooms on the outside, like maybe you have a mono room or a stereo room or a floor mic or whatever, there could be a bunch of options depending on what they gave you, then you can mix that in tastefully as well. Sometimes what I'll do is like with some of those like peripheral mics, as I would call them, like the room mics and some other like secondary mics, a crotch mic, floor mic, there's a bunch of different options. If you have some like peripheral mics like there, oftentimes like a trash mic, single mono trash mic, I will usually like squash those as a character add to the mix. So sometimes like if I'm my room right here, it's not a very big room, but I can open up the other doors and feed into like a garage or into the kitchen and mic out a little bit, some extra spaces in there for drums. If I'm doing that, I'll typically like squash those, right? I'll have like my good drum picture. I'll get it exactly where I want it to get it doing exactly what I want it to do. And then if I have peripheral mics, I'll squash them. I'll run them through like a distressor or like an 1176 as like a texture mic that I can then like feed into the mix to give it some drive. What's up, Lucas? Give it some drive and give it some energy. But those are all things that you can kind of do over time and take your time figuring out what some of that's going to look like. But definitely start with the overheads, get that exactly where you want it to, EQ it, compress it, do what you need to do, and then feed in direct mics to fill the gaps where it's like, okay, we're not getting enough toms, so we need to bring up this tom, this tom, this tom, compress them each, gate them a little bit, whatever you need to do to make sure they're nice and clean. But drums are a trick. I mean, I've been playing drums my whole life. I love them. I have a lot of fun tracking. I have a lot of fun tracking drums and playing drums and stuff like that. Cranberry, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. But they're a different animal, right? It's like I can track this vocal right here, and the way that this vocal is processed just through my vocal channel down here and in the DAW, I could throw a pop filter in front of this and track a live vocal now, and it would sound pretty good. Drums are a different animal. I'm like measuring the snare to the overheads. I'm making sure that these are going to be phase cohesive. I'm making sure that these mics are angled. Are we going a little bit stronger on the batter side? Are we going corner? We're going impact point. Or is the snare going to be aligned? There's a lot more to figure out. Yes, these will be available after the stream. So right there on YouTube, Joe, you could just go to the playlist. That is Track Talk live stream. It'll be the most recent one. But anyways, drums are a different animal. I do enjoy mixing drums a lot, but they can be frustrating to put it lightly. They can be pretty frustrating. I use the C4 on the kick and in trigger to get the sound I want. Okay, got you. All right, let me push this a little farther forward.
You want nothing ever stays the same, but I sing these words and play a few chords that take me back to 1984.
Yusuf, welcome in. And then same thing here. So now what I want you to do is, you can call it, in the live mixing scene or in like the studio console scene, you call it riding the fader. There's different terms for it. It's not like that's a scientific term, but riding the fader, which just means you're playing the board like it's an instrument, like I'm actually like, I've got my hands on and I am manipulating things in order to keep the song feeling alive and feeling vibrant and feeling like it's got great energy. Obviously, when you're mixing in the DAW digitally, that's more difficult to do unless you have, a fader board or something like that is going to actually give you some control. But what that means is that you might want to automate some levels as well. You might want to automate some levels to where a guitar that's way in the background on the first part of the song, you automate that level, you automate that fader to push forward so that the guitar becomes a lead element for, volume automation. Exactly. So in this pocket right here, we've got a nice little lead guitar that comes in, a nice little solo, but it's way too quiet. I need that like 7 dB louder. I need that to be a front lead, wide, punchy element that hits the front of the, hits the front of the, not necessarily wide, but hits the front of the mix right there with some power. And then it backs off to trade energy with the vocal. So the vocal is your lead. That's your top line. It's sitting right there. The vocal leaves the mix for a second. Lead guitar comes forward. We're riding that fader a little bit. You're pushing it forward so that it sits at the forefront of what's going on. And then you ride the fader back again. You automate it back down when the lead vocal comes back in, and you're changing energy right there. That will make more sense when everything's positioned out and the drums feel more vibrant. The guitars are positioned where you want them to be. But that right there is going to be a big part of how you create some life in this mix. Where right now it's very flat. It's very stagnant. It needs to be positioned and processed a little bit, but it's very flat as far as the way that it's mixed. That will help keep this feeling alive. In the same way that if you were performing this live, that's the same thing the live sound engineer would be doing as well, right? It's guitar solo time. Boom, we push the guitar forward. That cuts back. The lead vocal comes back in, stuff like that. That's the stuff that I want you to kind of listen for in this section here.
And play a
Right in here.
when life was good and the world was right. Mama's in the kitchen making chicken and rice, and Dad spent Saturdays under the hood. And we played outside till the sun went down. Grandma and Grandpa were still around. Who could ask
Yeah, and then
for
just third note
more?
harmonies, layers on the vocals on the hook. You can back off of those layers on the verse if you want to. Doesn't have to always be there, but give it a little bit of a push on the hook right there with some stacks and some background vocals. You'll be in a much better spot.
Who could ask for more? Back in 1984.
Push that guitar forward again.
In 1984.
Back it off, trade a little bit. This is where your mix will kind of come alive a little bit more. Y'all show some love. Whoop, stop. I was gonna cheer. Show some love. That is Joe Allen Christie. That's the family. Love and appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for sending that in. I'm excited for you to be mixing your own stuff. I mean, it's a challenge. Obviously it can be frustrating, it can be a challenge, but you're gonna learn so much about your sound. You're going to learn so much about like what you want out of your own music because you have control now. So you really have a chance to be like, okay, here's my vision. Here's what I want for my own records. And the skill is then how do I translate that, right? The best engineers, producers, session musicians and stuff that I know that I've worked with, it's an artists and vocalists and songwriters that I've worked with. The skill is in the translation from vision and idea to execution and like to the DAW. The more accurate that is, the more creative that is, the better these people are, right? I think where people get frustrated is they're like, oh, I in my head, I can hear my voice punchy and forward and like really great sounding. It sounds really good. But then when I'm inputting it, it's not quite getting where I want it to be. It's not doing what I want it to do. And that can be incredibly frustrating. So just fight through those processes. Fight through those processes of like, okay, even just like learning the drum positioning and stuff like that. Watch specifically drum mixing videos. There's some great ones on YouTube. I don't know like an exact name from it. I'm selling my drum set right now to get a new one in here. So whenever I get a new one in here, I will do some videos on miking drums, phase, just, dealing with the rooms, dealing with your environment, stuff like that. But once you learn some of those things, man, it's going to open up such a beautiful world for you. You're going to have so much more control over the way that you're producing your music and mixing your music. And obviously going to save some money too. It's very expensive to track, mix, and record and everything like that when you're hiring an engineer. So y'all show some love to Joe Allen Christie. I appreciate you so much. Y'all give it up for the family. Quick reminder, if you would like to submit your music, I'm going to double check for something here in a second. If you would like to submit your music for a 20 to 30 minute multiple listen consultation, go to my profile, click on the link, read through and follow the details there, and we'll get you up on the board ready to go. These are 20 to 30 minutes a piece. They're long, they're detailed. We're going to dive deep into your mix, production, sound design, lyric, and song structure. Of course, Joe, I appreciate you, man. If you would like to submit, everything's at my profile. Click on the link, read through and follow the details, and we'll get you up on the board. Let me double check a few things here really quick, and then we might get out of here a little bit early so I can work on some other stuff. Let's see. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. War Paint Peace, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Jonah Ova, welcome in as well. Thank you for joining the stream. I hope you all are doing amazing today. Yeah, we've already been on for 2.5 hours. I might get out of here. Let me double check over here on my list real quick. Right. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all so much. Y'all are fantastic. Hopefully we'll tomorrow I'm not positive if I'll be live. I have hey, I appreciate you so much, Warpaint. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you for joining today. I really appreciate that. I might be live tomorrow. I'm not positive, so don't necessarily count on it. But I have some other work I need to do most of the day. So if I go live at all, it'll be in the afternoon. I'm just not positive how I'll work that out. I've got a kind of a crazy weekend here. I'll actually be out most of the weekend. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all so much. I think y'all are fantastic. Thank you for your vulnerability and sending in your music. Quick spiel before we hop off, though. For those of you who don't know, my name is Torvik. I'm a full-time audio engineer, producer, and session musician. That is what I do for a living. I've done that for the last 14 plus years. I'm a classically trained pianist, so a lot of the live is structured from that perspective, but it's also what I do for a living. So if you are ever interested in those services, shoot me a message on Instagram, on TikTok, or through our website. I would love to get with you and talk about your record, if it would be a good creative and stylistic fit, if the services that I offer would make sense with what you're doing, and then, of course, timeline and budget and stuff like that. So if you're in need of, like, one of my main things, the things that I'm the most proficient in would be synths, keys, stuff like that. But I have a little bit of everything in here, and I work in session work through all of those different mediums. So I have a lot of, obviously my main thing being, like, synthesizers. I have a bunch of synths in here. So if you ever need analog hardware synths in your music, electric, acoustic, bass guitars, live drums, vocals, whatever it may be, that's what I do. And then, of course, if you're ever needing full-scale productions or mixing and mastering, that is also what I do. So shoot me a message. It is a Neumann mic. It is a Neumann M147 tube. M147 tube. I love it. I'm torn between Neumann or AKG. I mean, it just really depends on the source in the mic, right? Neumann can be like, I have another Neumann. It's a TLM102. I don't really like it, but it's there. I might sell it. Get something else in here. But I have a TLM102 that's a very, very, very different mic than this M147 tube. Obviously, the price is very different, but just the profile of it is dramatically different, right? The TLM102 is like harsh, brittle, super, super bright. This is like deep, warm, like saturated. It's a tube mic, so it's saturated. It's really even, really mellow, which is what I really, really like about it. It can take a lot that you throw at it. So yeah, really, and the same with the AKG, right? The difference between like a C214 or a 414 XL2 or something like that is very different than like a vintage VR. It's $8,000 or something like that. Like they're very different worlds. So it kind of just depends on what you're looking for. This Neumann, these are like $3,700, $3,500, something like that. But it is a high quality hybrid tube microphone. It does an amazing, amazing job. It's going to be very different sounding than like a more bright, punchy, 414. I've used 414s many, many different times on vocals, but mainly on drums. I used to mic toms with 414s. I think they're great for that. Always wanted a 414, but now thinking of Neumann. Yeah, my advice would just be to look for the mic, not the brand at all. Like, don't because the profile of each of these different microphones are dramatically different, right? Whether you're getting a Lauten, a Lewitt, a Neumann, an AKG, a Telefunken, like whatever it is, Sony, they're very, very different in the way that they sound, their frequency profile, their response, how warm or how bright they feel, how much, SPL, how much energy can they really take, depending on the source. Their sensitivity to noise and stuff like that. So I would don't look. That's just my loose advice. Not knowing anything about what you do is don't look for the brand. Don't get a Neumann for the Neumann. I'm a deeper tone voice, but do hit the upper mid range sometimes. This mic would honestly do really well for that. A mic that would do really well for you is I think it's the Clarion. The Clarion from Lauten Audio. That's about $1,300. That is a fantastic mic. For the 1,000, you can find them used sometimes for like 900, 1,000. Those are fantastic for like deep vocals, but with like a strong mid range. Like it's still a large diaphragm FET condenser. It is a fantastic microphone for stuff like that. So I've used that on like deeper vocals, like strong rock vocals, like deeper, strong rock vocals. Gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. I've used it on bass cabs. I've used it on kick drums, like anything that needs some weight to it. It needs like some power and some punch to it. I think that's fantastic. But it's the Lauten Audio Clarion, I believe. Let me double check. I'm nearly positive. Rap and sing, it's great. Like if you have a strong like lower voice, everyone has some range, right? But if the majority of what you're doing is like a strong lower voice, it's fantastic. I think it's a Clarion. Let me double check for you. Yeah, the Clarion FC. Dude, it's great. It's a great microphone. Dude, there's one for 700 on Reverb right now. 700 on Reverb. So it looks like they have like an open box on Sweetwater for 1100, which is a deal. New, they're like 1600. It looks like. Maybe that's just because they used to be like 12 to 1300. New, they used to be that much, but it might be tariffs or something like that. Anyways, it's the like Clarion FC 357 or something like that. They're fantastic. They're fantastic. Anyways, sidebar. I recommend that mic to so many people, especially if you're looking at like the range you would be looking at for a Neumann. There is a TLM 103. Don't do it, man. Just don't do it. It's so hell yeah. It's so unflattering for most vocals, especially for what you're doing. Where the TLM 103, if you're looking in that range for Neumann, is going to shine, is going to be really bright subjects, right? So like where like the 102 that I have, which is like $700, or the TLM 103, which is about that 1300 range, 1000 to 1300 range, in that range, that's great for like, because it's so bright, it's so top pushed. It works really well for like bright acoustic guitars. It works well for like airy female vocals. It can work okay for like kind of like a brighter, airier, like, you know, pop vocal or R&B vocal. It can do okay. But if you're looking for like body, like you're looking, I need body in my vocal. It needs to have presence. It needs to be punchy. I would get something that can handle a little bit more, like a good tube microphone. Or something like the Clarion. I think we'll do a good job. All right. Y'all are amazing. I appreciate y'all so much. You have an incredible rest of your night. And hopefully we'll see y'all very, very soon. Peace.